going on, everybody? Welcome to Logical, Plausible, Probable Debate After Show. Let's talk a little bit about what just went down over on Creation Myths, Dr. Dan Stern Cardinale's channel, where he and SFT went toe-to-toe on the whole conversation, the topic, and the controversy of Neanderthals versus Homo sapiens. Are we this descendant from a similar common ancestor? Are Neanderthals actually a subset of humans? All these different portions of that topic, which is a very common one in the evolutionary timeline, origin of species arguments. And they had some pretty interesting back and forth. Started off pretty calm and whatnot, and then it started to get heated, and then by the end it was those guys were definitely going at it. So I'm very interested to hear people's thoughts about the debate, what they think went down, who won, who lost, best comebacks, best one-liners, and the overall consensus on the conversation tonight. So the link to get in the live stream to share your opinion should be in the description. Let me double check that just to make sure it is. Yep, there it is. And I'm going to put it in the live chat for anybody who wants to come on and share. Whoa, that is not what I was trying to get there. That is not the right link. Hang on here, folks. Just supposed to be getting a StreamYard link. Let's see here. What the? Okay. Well, that's weird. Well, while I'm getting this link fixed, a couple interesting things are going to be happening here on Logical, Plausible, Probable. So tentatively, next Monday afternoon, I will be having the one and only Dr. Faz Rana on to discuss some of the aspects of abiogenesis from a chemistry perspective, and he and I are going to go into detail on a few points that kind of get glossed over a little bit in a lot of these conversations. I'm going to talk to him about the nucleotide linkage problem, the codon assignment problem, and we're going to have some stuff on carbohydrates, and various aspects of the sugars problem in terms of abiogenesis. And then I also plan on talking with him about the amino acid linkage problem and how humans are actually, we're supposedly being able to copy is actually done in a dramatically different variation than what is happening in nature. So a lot of the things that we're being told are being solved, answered, accounted for, and overall adjusted in relation to abiogenesis research that actually aren't being accounted for. We're going to talk about some of those things, and it should be pretty interesting. So that's going to be next Monday. Make sure you stay tuned for that. I should have something posted up. I'm going to confirm everything with his the head of PR over there, Reasons to Believe, and get everything finalized. Then we'll get the exact time. But I think it's going to be about 6 p.m. Central Time next Monday, tentatively. Man, we got the jungle jargon. What's going on, brother? How you doing?
What's up, John? There he is, the man of the hours in a chat.
Is SFT in the house?
Yeah, it looks like it.
SFT, are you coming in?
Yeah.
Link is in the description. I'm going to post it again in chat. All right, there it is. Come on down, my friend. That was definitely we're waiting for SFT. What did you think, Jungle? That was a heated. Well, got kind of heated at different spots there of kind of both guys on both sides being like, dude, how do you not get this? Like, are you stupid? I'm coming from both sides. What do you think about that?
Yeah, he's a little bit slippery. He tried to bring up that same thing that he brought up with me about the genetic diversity in Addis Ababa. And turns out that there's a more genetic diversity, at least in the Y chromosome and mtDNA haplogroup, in the cradle of civilization. All you have to do is look at the pie charts, and you can see that more people, more different types of people are represented there in the cradle of civilization. So there he is.
Interesting.
Yeah.
SFT, welcome to the after show of your interesting conversation with Dr. Dan Stern Cardinale over on his channel Creation Myths. If anybody's missed it, you just go over to Creation Myths. You can watch it. It was definitely a feisty one, to say the least, at different points.
You know, Dr. Dan Stern Cardinale. I like how he just loves the ad hominems. And the whole time he was going on his, so I found his closing statement to be just horrible. My goal was to come at him with many different angles, suggesting in every way that Neanderthals are humans, or just, what some of these paleo experts say is a subspecies, which to us is just a human variant. And he wanted nothing but to talk about the DNA. But it's so funny how typically they love to go to their bones, don't they?
Usually it's the standard position to go to. Yeah, it was interesting how it was. I'm not even looking at bones. Morphology has nothing to do with it. I'm only looking at genetics.
Right.
I heard that at least 10 times.
He's just going to disregard all the evidence that clearly suggests that these were humans. They buried their dead. I mean, that's what my opening presentation, I touched on a lot of things. But yeah, his ad hominems I found started to come when he was being what I felt he was kind of being cornered. For example, he dodged the heck out of the question as to, according to their model, 400,000 years of genetic reshaping, and yet they still produce fertile offspring. Yeah, no, that's a fairy tale. And he started just talking mad crap about creationists and my books and how I misrepresent science. So I just wanted to ask one simple question. Would you say that people like Dr. Sanford, Tompkins, Behe, Mayer, would you say these guys also misrepresent science? He said, oh, yeah. I said, well, then I'm in good company. No offense there.
Right. Yep.
Well, that, I definitely did notice a direct obfuscation and end around when you brought that up. I mean, it was... you outlined the question very clearly, and then it was a complete misdirection on his part. No doubt about that whatsoever. I mean, it was very obvious that is what was going down. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
See, I think he just wanted to be the one that was on the offense by asking the questions. So the second he started getting questions at him too, I think he got a little uncomfortable. But I'm just making a sandwich here. That was like you said, it was a lot of back and forth. I don't even think we held much to the 90-second intervals, which is fine. It was fun. But yeah, what do you guys think?
Right.
How do you guys think of the debate? What do you think I could have improved on? What do you think went well? I mean, what are your overall thoughts?
Yeah, I noticed that he was interrupting you whenever you're trying to say something, and then he would go on for longest time himself, But
I kind of expected that would happen. Yeah, he's not very good at. That's why Neff in the last debate, he just ended up leaving. So yeah, I don't think Dan held to the 90-second interval too well, but that he started interrupting a lot. I felt when he was getting right. Yeah. He started denying the fact that he says we should predict more genetic diversity in the Neanderthal DNA sequences. But correct me if I'm wrong. Inbreeding, by definition, and this is where we got heated, decreases homozygosity. But this is because those deleterious mutations are now coming to the forefront and eroding genetic information. Am I wrong on that? I don't know why at one point I said,
I don't know. I Googled it while you guys were arguing, and that is exactly what it said when I Googled it.
Yeah. And I screen shared. I hope he was actually showing my citations, but I had those exact things that I think maybe the problem comes where they don't agree that most mutations are deleterious. We know they're deleterious, which means there's going to be a loss of genetic information. Therefore, maybe he's challenging that claim. I don't know. If you're hypermutating and you have all these deleterious mutations accumulating, you will lose information. You will become genetically compromised like these Neanderthals. And I just don't know why he just wouldn't agree with. My whole point is, hey, listen, your argument that we predict Neanderthal sequences should be more genetic diverse is wrong, because their genetic information was eroded due to the inbreeding. So it's exactly what we would expect. But he just wouldn't agree with that. So
Well, you know, to me, one of the biggest aspects of all these conversations ultimately boils down to the question of, is there genome deprecation or not? And because if there is, then the whole aspect of phylogeny is in reverse in a lot of the aspects of the way they present it, right? I mean, it's the polar opposite. It's like, you're claiming we're getting more, they're claiming that we're getting more, we're claiming we're getting less. I mean, things cannot be more opposite, right?
Yeah.
And they claim bottom up, we claim top down. Like, there's no other way around this. Like, what is more polar opposite than that? Nothing, right? It is literally the embodiment and the epitome and the very definition of opposites, right? Antithesis of the arguments. And
go ahead, John. Sorry.
Anyway, so the point I'm making on all this is, it's like, of course, I think where things kind of went into a headbutt between the two of you tonight kind of was the embodiment of the point I'm making, right? You guys were arguing about the exact same component, but we're reaching two totally opposite conclusions about what the explanation was and what the outcome would be, right? The logical outcome. Or sorry, the logical reasoning for the outcome. You guys are both agreeing on the, like, okay, we're arguing about the same thing, sort of, but how it happened and what's the source of are two totally different worldviews, and they just completely go. It's like two trains running into each other at 90 miles an hour.
I think you hit the nail on the head, because for one, I want to point out, Honesty Angel said, how is extinction possible without deleterious mutations? Exactly right. And secondly, it comes down to the fact that we know that they deny genetic entropy. You know, someone like Dr. Dan spends his lifetime fighting Dr. Sanford. We know he debated Sal a bunch of times and tried to claim that the majority of the genome is junk. Therefore, when we're talking about hypermutating lineages, he's looking at it like, well, the majority of the genome is junk. Mutations are not all deleterious. So what are you talking about? But our model and the science says that mutations are overwhelmingly deleterious, even the ones that only have a slight effect on fitness. Therefore, if it's a hypermutating lineage like the Neanderthals, according to the scientific data that suggests that mutations are deleterious, they're genetic mistakes, then that will erode their genetic information. But his model and his worldview says the opposite. Those mutations that accumulate over time, they create true novelties. They took that single-celled ancestor into a whale millions and millions of years. But so that, you're right. We believe in the top down. They believe in the. I love how they say, you know, there's no route, or there's no direction in evolutionary change. Well, there's got to be some direction if your single-celled ancestor billions of years ago evolved into all the life forms we see today. But you're right. It comes down to worldviews on mutations and whether or not they're deleterious, John.
Well, and the thing that really gets me is the ongoing double downs in terms of, you know, junk DNA. Oh, they're not mostly deleterious mutations, even though they admit they're deleterious, but they're just not most of them, even though they say that, yes, most of them are. But hey, somehow that's overcome by the very few that may not be. I mean, it's like, what? But the double downs continue to get more and more bizarre, you know. And I was joking with you the other day, for the audience, SFT and I were having a little, we were sending voice messages to each other, and I was talking about how back in my days of being a rather avid poker player, that, you know, when you're sitting at the table, eventually you start to identify the idiots that, even when you know they're stone cold bluffing, they're going to just make these stupid bets, and you're going to say, I call, you know, flipped cards, they got nothing. Well, I feel like this is what we're dealing with in the evolutionary worldview of they've reached a point. The river is now here, right? At the poker table. The river has come, and there's been a bet, a re-raise, and I've called, and we're calling their bet. And now they don't want to show their cards. It's like, dude, I called. You got in this context things like encode and other things, and all these papers we present over from research has been done by secular sources showcasing the greater and greater deprecation of their foundational position, which is junk DNA.
Right.
Like that is becoming more and more clear, almost on a daily basis. And it's like, you're still doubling down? What is wrong? What? Why? Oh, wait, you have to, because if you don't, then you have to admit that your entire worldview, your profession in the context of Dr. Dan Stern Cardinale is now pointless. You in yourself from a professional perspective.
Yeah.
And in his case, of what he's trying to do on YouTube with creation myths, personally, is now pointless. So how many people are going to willfully surrender something that would completely decimate who they feel they are, personally and professionally?
Right, you're 100% correct. And we were talking about too. I just find it funny that he was brought in to take us down because they know they've been losing bad. But
Yeah.
this is the best they have. Somebody who denies the fact that I'm even looking here on genetic erosion, where it talks about how genetic diversity can be lost due to inbreeding, population bottlenecks, mutations, for example. So I think it just comes down to the evolutionist thinks that mutations are all good for the most part. They're not deleterious. I mean, we got to get to the core issue, which John was saying, your top down. Because I always say this, when we look back to the creation event, we're looking back to the expansion of genetic information, and we've lost a lot of allelic diversity since then. Evolutionists have to look back at their single-celled ancestor billions of years ago, and they have to see the contraction of genetic information because they have been required to expand the genome over millions and millions of years to create all the true novelties and complexity we see today. So, like John said, it's two completely opposing worldviews. Therefore, when you're discussing mutations and whether or not they might erode genetic diversity, for example, the evolutionist is thinking one thing and the creationist is thinking another. But I think it's clear that the creationist and the intelligent design advocate is thinking correctly because mutations are deleterious. It's just a fact. And that's why they have to fight it so bad.
Yeah.
I would agree completely. Jason has joined. And Jungle, Jason, anything you want to add to that?
Oh no, I was just thinking about how he's being so condescending. I'm sure you've already mentioned it because I haven't heard everything, but how he's so condescending at the end of the show. Like, now standing, if you really want to get through to people and like, get stuff, mate. Get stuff.
Right. He's ad hominems, condescension.
Well, something that I think earlier you asked, like, what should we go after more? Like, what could you have attacked more? Honestly, I don't know if you probably noticed this, but he was heavily relying on phylogenetic trees.
Right.
Very heavily relying on them.
Yep.
And to be honest, I think we need to start attacking that premise.
Right.
And just be like, you know what? Defend the assumptions you have used to reach that tree.
Right. Good point.
Defend your assumption. You're making the assertion that this data and this fancy looking chart you're showing me is 100% true and proven beyond doubt. So are you saying that it is proven beyond doubt, or are there fundamental assumptions in it? Yes or no? Because he actually admitted to some of the assumptions. Like, it is in a couple sentences. There were was one or two spots where I noticed him admit that there were assumptions. But it's like, no, you need to clarify the assumptions to the audience. Because I would wager that 99.99% of the laymen out there have no idea the extenuation and the extent to which those assumptions have taken form. And
sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
The mutation rates of the people on those islands, he said, oh, we know when those islands were settled. So, okay, he knows when the islands were settled, but this is the thing. Have they actually tested the current mutation rates of the people on those islands? I guess not, because it wouldn't match with their, they'd be too fast, I'd imagine, as it wouldn't match with their phylogenetic garbage. And he says, well, because we know when they were settled, then our past mutation rates must be 100% correct, because we know when they were settled. What? You're making up rates in the past. It doesn't matter if you know when every bloody square inch of the earth was settled, mate. It's not going to help you with you're still making stuff up. This is what I don't get. Right. They're putting it anyway. You can explain that better than me, Stanley.
Well, I was going to say, and what you're saying is brilliant. What John said, point out their assumptions. There was one point in the debate that I said, I can't remember exactly what I said, but I said all you're doing is looking at these heavily based assumption-based phylogenetic trees that in your case is nothing more than lines on paper. So I said lines on paper, which Hovind uses a lot, and some people in the chat were like, oh, you're not using a Hovind line. But I this is where they're not listening, because I clearly said oftentimes these phylogenetic charts, they are accurate. For example, I oftentimes show the phylogenetic chart regarding the three major haplogroups, L, M, and N, which is based on hundreds of mitochondrial DNA variants from people today. That's legit. Those aren't just lines on paper, because those are derived from real empirical science. But what Dan was showing there is just lines on paper, because it's based on assumptions that need to be backed up. You know, just like John said, point out the assumptions. So some people didn't get what I was saying there. I guess.
Well, and the clarification I think that has to be made to the audience is, and I've said this before when I've questioned phylogeny in general, is I don't have an issue with it and you're kind of alluding to this, inside of humans, for example, right? Go for it. That is entirely different than operating on the assumption of common descent and saying that the phylogeny extends to any species in comparison based on, it is a similar gene.
Right.
That means nothing. Well, it means absolutely nothing. You are making a 100% assumption that they didn't have it from their originally. There is no other way around this. It is a 100% assumption.
Yeah, they do make assumptions as far as the phylogenetic tree, because when they put the lines on paper for the Y chromosome, they have the Shemites descended from the Hamites, and the Japhethites descended from the Shemites. And then when it comes to the mitochondrial DNA, they have the Japhethites descended from the Hamites, and the Shemites descended from the Japhethites. So they got it switched around between the mitochondrial DNA and the Y chromosome. You know, the paternal and the maternal lines, they got them mixed up. So it's obviously an assumption, and it's wrong.
Well, and they're assuming the human-chimp split when it comes to these phylogenetic studies. They're assuming deep time evolution. His phylogenetic chart had all of these assumptions built in. And he's trying to say the Neanderthals are an outgroup. And I try to point out many times, I don't think he did rebut it, because, why are the Neanderthals different? What makes them an outgroup kind of thing? And there's a number of things, and genetics is one of them. But here's the thing. If Neanderthals, as I pointed out, went extinct thousands of years ago, or were kind of assimilated into the human population, which is why we got 2 to 5%, I think, Neanderthal genes, we've accumulated mutations, we've accumulated genetic change, for example, since then. So why would they expect all humans today, we're 99.999% similar. Why would they expect us to also be 99.99% similar with our ancestors, the Neanderthal? It's been thousands of years of genetic reshaping. So 99.7% is what the Neanderthals are, I pointed out. What more do you want? That's exactly expected based on a few thousand years of genetic change. I don't really get, you know what I mean? So they're just assuming, it's a sister group, it's an out group. No, it's also makes sense with our. It makes more sense in our model because, as I pointed out, 400,000 years of separation, yet they interbred. Now that's the fairy tale.
Yeah,
Now,
and the Africans have it too.
real quick, got to make a quick announcement from Brother George Bond. He says, let SFT and everyone in the chat know that after a long wait down there in Australia, he has finally took delivery of his 2 T-shirts. Woohoo!
Awesome, George. Love it. George, you got to send me a picture, brother. I'll post it.
I wore one. I wore one. The one with the origin of nonsense, with Darwin's picture on it, and the people in the car parts place. For the first time, that guy that I walked in there, gave me a sort of a cool reception, and then they stuffed me around on something that I bought, and then I realised, hang on, I was wearing that Origin of Nonsense T-shirt. Obviously I pissed them off.
Sorry for interrupting you there, Jungle. What were you trying to say, man?
No, I forgot what it was. I don't know. I don't remember.
No, sorry to interrupt you there, man. The
Sorry, Jungle.
No, it's okay.
Did hang on, did I just see that Dr. Dan came in the chat for a minute?
He seemed to have been contradicting himself a couple of times when in the beginning.
Okay, he was saying not sticking around, having too much fun chatting with the evolution crew, but Matt, he's challenging you, bro. Open door if you ever want to come on. I'd love to talk about your new book with you. Ooh.
Matt wouldn't waste his time talking to him, man.
Matt,
honestly,
I think he thinks he's got you. He must have watched Lord Pudding's weather report on page 140.
Did he block me?
Who?
He must have blocked me. Is Dan in the chat?
No, I think he must have left. This was a couple minutes ago. I had missed it.
Oh, I see it. Never mind.
But yes, it was pretty funny. I attempted to watch Lord Pudding's weather report when he was debunking page 140, raw Matt, but I couldn't make it through. It was I was about to fall asleep while driving. Couldn't do it.
How useless is Slow of Pudding, because he's so irrelevant right now. He talks so much smack. So he was talking smack about molecular clocks, for example. And I've had enough of molecular clock discussion with Dan. People can watch it and make up their own mind who's right. But Speed was talking smack. So I messaged him. I said, let's debate it. Let's debate it tonight. And in one of his latest videos, he said, Standing just wants to bombard me like he did with the chromosome 2 fusion, because he admits he got demolished in that chromosome 2 fusion debate. Excuses from this guy, right?
Hold on. You talking about Pudding or Dan?
No, Pudding.
Okay.
So in one of his latest videos, and he's saying, Standing just wants to bombard me like he did in the chromosome 2 fusion debate, and I'm not going to fall for it. I'm not ready for molecular clocks. Yet he was the one talking smack. He's the one who talks a big game on his channel. And he just left a comment in the debate saying, waiting here for all of Standing's citations. I literally had slide after slide backing up everything that I said, from Smithsonian, technical papers, right from Google on inbreeding. What more do these guys want? John,
they can't type. They can't read a title of a paper and then type it in and go and look at it. They need you. Right. They need you to find the paper and then to put in commas all the parts that you don't, because they're too stupid to see it for themselves. That's the problem.
Right. Exactly. Yes, and Dan was trying to argue that, because I made it clear at the beginning of the discussion. I said, Dan, let me know what your position is. Are Neanderthals a separate species or a subspecies? And he said a separate species. And then Erica's question, trying to say where's your sources? I made it clear the entire time that these paleo experts will say subspecies, because they still assume human evolution. They're not going to agree with the young Earth creation model of the Babel dispersion, but the fact that they're saying, some of these paleo experts are saying that they're just a subspecies of Homo sapiens, that's our position, that they're a human variant of Homo sapiens. But they can't get past, they can't read between the lines on these papers. We all know that they're still holding to their evolutionary worldview. It's what's being said. That they don't know how to come to any different conclusions. But I'm screen sharing right now, and you can see like paper after, just like Jason said, they have no idea how to punch in the names of these papers. Look at this. All of this, Smithsonian Magazine, everything that I had in my opening, like just type in the title, type in Smithsonian.
How hard is that?
How hard is it? You want me speed of sound. You're not even going to take the time to study it anyways. For example, this, and I don't know if you guys heard Dr. Dan disagree with this paper that suggests that Neanderthals had, look at this. Okay, is the screen shared? Can you see?
Yeah, I got it full screen.
Yeah.
So I put this. So right here, because I had a feeling he'd make that excuse. The Neanderthal genome included harmful mutations that made the hominids around 40% less reproductively fit than modern humans. Right down here, genetic burden when they interbred. So he actually disagreed with that. I don't know if you guys remember. This is a paper from it. This is an article associated with the paper. This is from the paleo expert, and he's just disagreeing to disagree. Harmful mutation. If it's harmful, there's going to be erosion of genetic information, okay? So he had no choice but to disagree with his own side on that one. Now, speed of pudding, here it is. Type it in. Go look. Here's the sources. Here's the Eric Trinkos paper. Here's bits and pieces from it. Oh, this one, 2020. He didn't comment on this one, did he? Where humans and Neanderthals less different than polar and brown bears. Like, the sources are right here. Do we have to do, look at this, by inbreeding?
Yes, you do. You have to hold their hand. Yes, you do.
You got to do all the homework for them. I mean, are you seeing this? By inbreeding, individuals are further decreasing genetic variation by increasing homozygosity. I mean, yeah, these guys are a lost cause. And that's why at one point in the debate, I just said, you know what? We're just going to have to agree to disagree at this point, because you clearly just want to disagree to disagree.
Yeah, and they're only questioning the biblical timeline anyways. They're not actually proving evolution anyway.
Well, no, it's interesting you say that, because and Jungle, you probably picked up on this, but there were multiple positions when you were where SFT was kind of had him pinned, and like, no, answer the question basically. And Dan just said, nope, I don't have to, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't fit your 6,000 year timeline. It doesn't matter. And it's like, dude, you're literally dodging the scientific argument and saying that, oh, well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if what I'm saying is complete crap and has no validity. I'm just arguing that it doesn't fit the timeline. It's like, no. Answer whether or not the argument that's being made is occurred, yes or no, or is logical to have occurred, yes or no. Not whether or not it fits a timeline, but whether or not in this context of inbreeding, if this would be the outcome. No, not enough time. Hasn't been enough time. No. Per your own timeline, is this the outcome? And he was just I don't have to answer that, because it doesn't fit in 6,000 years. Sorry, I don't have to answer that. It's like, okay. How does that make any sense from an actual valid defense of your position? I mean, if per your timeline, this is what would have occurred.
Right.
Yeah. And the main thing is, like you said, they believe in a bottom-up genome,
right. Yeah.
which is nonsense. It's ludicrous to begin with. When the evidence is top-down, like we're saying.
And when I was formulating the question that he just kept dodging, I did my best to represent their side leading up to the question, and you could hear him. He's like, "Oh yeah, oh yeah, that's what happened. That's what happened." And then all of a sudden, I hit him with it. I said, "Okay, then if they've been separated for 400,000 years, I've heard different numbers. I mean, these guys can't all agree. There's no consensus. They all contest each other. But let's just say 400,000 years. How did they remain interfertile? Well, I'm not too sure how they could." At one point, he finally tried to answer the question by saying, "Oh, we know there's fish that have diverged millions of years ago that remain interfertile." So he assumes the million-year divergence. Yet we've never seen all of recorded history and everything we have in DNA, for example, to see speciation events. We've never witnessed species that have been let's say, groups of organisms that have been isolated from each other for hundreds of thousands of years. That's all assumption based. Answer the question in your own model, and no, they won't do it. Dan, he just disagrees to disagree. Me and Matt put out like an hour and a half video refuting him on molecular clocks. So at this point, it's almost like just put out videos refuting him, and he's not going to be able to respond to them.
Well, to me, it really feels like that is the position on the majority of the high-level talking points for the evolution crowd, right? It's either full-scale blanket assumption. I discount any possible any argument that disproves my position must be wrong. It's like the position they take, right? Like, no, I refuse to accept that as remotely valid. Like, so did you listen to a word that came out of my mouth of my argument and like the logical position and the direct examples of evidence to support my argument? Oh wait, you didn't? No. Oh yeah, that's right. Because you put your fingers in your ears and were like, no, nothing's. I hear nothing. For the last 20 minutes, and then you like spewed talking points, and it's like, yeah. So it's kind of like in our opening statements. Some of the ones when I've been rather snarky, of like, I literally addressed that in my opening statement. Did you not listen to a word that I said? But I mean, I've noticed that it's being a trend in debates, discussions, whatnot. It does not matter if their talking points are directly assaulted with evidence. They act like the evidence was never presented. Or if it was presented, even if it came from secular sources, it must be from a creationist. It's like, on purpose, I didn't use evidence from a creation source. So you wouldn't be able to use this with a straight face. And you're still trying to do it. And I just called you out on doing it. And you're still doing it. And you're claiming I'm the one that's full of BS. Right. Okay. Mm-hmm. Sure. That makes total sense. Yeah. You're trying to sell the bridge to nowhere, and then wondering why people are calling you out on your BS. I'm just saying.
Well, these guys can't think outside the box, right? And that's why I find, because when you watch these lectures and you, like, for example, the infertile argument, I just got that from watching one of their own, a lecture on Neanderthals and out of Africa, and how it is a problem that they argue about. Like, you can destroy their own model by just reading their own literature. And then you pit them against their own community, like with the paper that suggests that the Neanderthals were 40% less fit due to the inbreeding. Dan says, I disagree with that. Okay, well, then why don't you go write up a paper refuting that paper? That this isn't young earth creation technical literature that we're using here. We're giving you papers from your own secular community.
As a sidebar, I'm going to do some more research on this, but do you remember, I'm trying to remember where this originally came up with. I think it might have been a discussion with you and Dan. When he was going on who was he debating when he was going on the diatribe about cytosine and how it's like this horrible problem. And then do you remember, was that against you?
I thought it was, to be honest with you, I thought it was against you, but maybe it was Neff then.
I don't know. I forget who it was, but you remember what I'm talking about, like when he was like going on a tangent about how it's like, oh, it's all evolution, it's just horrible, it's not optimal code and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So there's all these special proteins that literally recycle that. That's interesting. In terms of uracil back into cytosine or whatever it is. Or not, I'm drawing a blank now, I was too tired. Anyway, but then it turns out that it's hyper specific and essential to methylation and epigenetics factors. I'm like, so is it crap or is it hyper specific? Because it seems to me that we're finding out more and more and more about its function in relation to epigenetic factors and methylation and expression, regulation, modification, such as that, things of that nature. I'm like, so is it actually a positive or is it a negative? Which one? Because I would wager the more we're discovering about epigenetics, I'm going to just wager, I'm willing to bet that this goes back to the whole poker stuff, right? Like, you know what, dude? I raise you. I'm going to raise you that there's way more positive benefit than negative. You've been operating under the assumption prior to the discovery and the beginning to dive into the realization of its additional functionality. You thought it was crap. I bet that you're an ignorant fool that doesn't know where this is going. And I don't know what the end result's going to be entirely either. I'm just going to gamble that I'm correct. So I raise. Let's see what happens. And you know, the modicum of Googling and reading some papers that I did after all that, yeah, pretty sure I'm going to win that one if he calls. You know, and just it's another one of those factors of there's a very strong probability whatever supposed quote unquote evidence that the evolutionist puts forth to defend their position, very strong probability it's either already has been, is on the way to being, or very soon will be proven to be directly contradictory to their original argument.
Every claim of evolution that they make is always disproved sooner or later.
Well, it's funny you say that, John, because the big reason why I reached out to him to do this debate, and for one, my suggested title, I'm looking at our emails, was Are Neanderthals a variant of humans? And he said, well, because he titled it, you know, Are Neanderthals descended from humans or Homo sapiens? Because he kind of wants to play a little game because my suggested title, where he actually said, sure, whatever, either one's the same thing, that they're just a variant of them, that is just so obvious given the amazing lines of evidence suggesting their sophisticated cultural inventory and all the paleo experts that agree they're just a subspecies, which in other words is a variant. So, you know, pits it against them. But another reason, like you just said, he claimed in one of our last chats when I was discussing him with him, he said, oh, you know, your model would suggest that Neanderthals should be less, there should be more genetic have more genetic diversity. And I said, do you not agree that they were highly inbred? And he said, oh, yeah, I do. And I said, well, that by definition decreases genetic diversity. So then when he put out his video the other day, he was still using the same argument. And just like you research their claims, okay, just like on the cytosine, you research their claims and you see how wrong they are, but you see how they still double down on their original claim. So I kept asking, I said, are you going to admit that the fact that they have less genetic diversity, okay, are you going to admit that that's not inconsistent with our model now, since we know they were highly inbred and we agree? Now his argument is, well, hypermutating means that's going to increase genetic diversity. Well, he's assuming that those mutations are not deleterious. So we've already covered that when we know they are. It's a top-down, bottom-up worldview. That's why it really does. It comes down to.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because their whole model depends on the mutations adding information that's not there. So that's what they think is happening.
Well, and you know, when you really think about one of the fundamentals that all of their arguments depend on, which is not that there can't be, oh, there's a new allele. It's that there's some sort of new root function. I mean, the fact that they think they can somehow just avoid the source problem of novel genes, for example. It's like, we're talking about massive levels of new genes and new regulatory functions that in very short timelines, per your own timeline, somehow all these new genes just popped into existence. And you're like, oh, well, there was duplication and modification. Really? Okay, cool. So you're saying that this gene that is like dramatically different than anything else. Hence why it's called novel. Is like you're saying that all these modifications happened to something that just got duplicated, really, in a very short timeline. Doesn't your model require long timelines in order for this sort of thing to happen? I mean, it's the point we make on a regular basis, like or at least I do anyway, the willful suspension of rational thought when making these supposed analysis of and to create these very creative explanations and the storylines. It's like, so you're saying that in this scenario, everything that you claim applies in every other scenario doesn't apply in this scenario, and I'm not being reasonable because I'm calling you out on the fact that you're not using your own logic in this particular instance to defend your position, and I'm the one that's now being unreasonable. Like, how does that make any sense? I mean, I just dumped a bunch of word salad, like who's being, who's on first right there, but we're the ones that are being unreasonable. It blows my mind.
And all they can do is just attack our position. They can't really defend their own position or support their own position or prove it. It's their belief in evolution. They got to prove it, and they don't even have a mechanism to prove evolution.
Yes, and we got Tangelo has entered the stream. What's up, man? How you doing, brother?
Hi guys, I would like to show you what I am working on.
Yes. Is this the one you linked me to earlier?
No. It's another topic, and
oh, awesome.
It has to do with physiology, and we always talk about macroevolution or how complex organism form emerges. Okay, and I think it has to start to explain how actually cells become the way they are, the form that they adopt. Like, for example, the form of a blood cell is completely different than the form of a neuron. You agree with me?
Right. Yep.
So you have to explain that. How does a cell become the form which it has? And there are so huge variations. I did put the link on the chat, and I'm investigating this. I am far from over to find out, to crystallize actually what the mechanisms are, but it is very, very complex, and I am learning new things here. It is really amazing, and actins have a very important role. They are parallel to microtubules, filaments in the cell, which constantly form. They polymerize, and then they grow, and then they are removed when they are needed somewhere else. And that is a constant process of a dynamic process. And there are other structures as well which are contributing. And it is really a synergy of multitudes of processes like signaling and that scaffolds and so on. It's crazy. And if you guys want to have a look afterwards on the link, it's crazy complex.
Oh, I'm so glad you're here, Otan. Real quick, John, I just wanted to confirm something, because Snake was right, the man himself. He emailed me for a debate on Wednesday, and I recommended that debate be with you, Otangelo, because I know you're looking for an opponent on naturalism and abiogenesis. I imagine you'd probably be down for that debate, eh?
Sure, I am open to debate anyone.
I'll shoot you both an email. That'd be a debate I'd love to see, because Otangelo, I've said it many times, brother, I'm very impressed with your work. You're a warrior for the faith, and you absolutely destroy naturalism. So keep up the good work, man.
Thank you.
All right, so Lord Pudding has some words for you, Standing. Says, hey, Standing, I had a dream while sleeping and listening, and I accidentally poked you in the eye. I wonder what that means.
I don't even know what to say to that. Well, you know what? We are living inside these guys' heads rent-free. They're dreaming about us. Leap over us. I mean, Dr. Dan, I mean, by the end of that, he looked like he was going to have a stroke getting refuted for 2 hours. Like these guys, I don't know, they're losing, man. We've got them cornered, and let's keep her. See, the thing is, we have them on the offense right now. You know, I mean, no. We have them on the defense. We're on the offense, and that's why they try to bring their big guns in, Dan. And now that we know that this is the best they have, I want to thank Dan for popping his head up, because we're now seeing that the best they have is pretty sad. What do you guys think?
Well, I think that Lord Voldemort is now. He said he's going to he sent you an invoice and needs a refund on the books. Well, I think in that context, the fact that you left a review before you read the book,
right?
I think that would equal a sum zero if you don't feel like it was valuable. The fact that you were literally full of shit and leaving a review the day you got the book. And by the way, it's documented from your own words. They're like, I got the book today. And then the comment literally appears at the same time. like, I'm pretty sure that means it's a BS review, dude. So I'm guessing it's like so many other books that you've admitted to not reading, yet claim to know the content of. So I'm just gonna leave it at that.
I got to interrupt you there, because a great portion of my book has to do with molecular clocks and disproving human evolution and proving us coming from Adam and Eve kind of thing. So he left a review saying it's a bad book, and a great portion of it's on molecular clocks. And when I asked him to debate molecular clocks just a few days ago, he said no, he's not ready. He hasn't studied it enough. But yet he left a bad review on that which he hasn't looked into and studied. Like, this is what we're dealing with here.
They don't have anything. They don't have any argument. They don't have anything.
Right.
I don't know if the argument is valid. I never researched it. Therefore, I'm going to claim that guy doesn't know what he's talking about. I mean,
molecular clocks has nothing to do with circadian clocks, right?
Oh yeah, the molecular clocks are it's direct evidence, because every time there's a genetic mistake that's passed on in the germline, that's another tick of the clock. Boom. So we can count those ticks and logically, count back and see when our most recent common ancestor is. The carbon clocks, you're right. That's indirect evidence. I was talking about circadian clocks. Carbon?
No, circadian clocks.
Oh, sorry. My bad, brother.
It's interesting that circadian clocks, they do not work only on a 24 hours time period, but also in a 7-day time period. And that is very interesting, because it correlates with the time frame given in the Bible of 6 days you shall work and the 7th day you shall rest.
Yeah.
And that is imprinted in our cells with the 7-day circadian rhythm clock. And they tried to move the calendar to 10 days at the French Revolution, and it failed.
It failed big time. It was like full-scale meltdown, both from a psychological perspective, a physiological perspective. I mean, society in general was in full-scale meltdown. And
yes.
I mean, they had to make a forceful, like, okay, this is not normal. Let's go back to normal. And the irony was, part of not the entirety, but a large portion of the reason they did it was to specifically go against what was considered normal.
Yeah. They tried to establish a religion back then, to worship the sun and so forth, and it all terribly failed.
Oh man,
I did also investigate. I did put a link here. about a science paper which came out in 2018, and they did investigate mitochondrial DNA, and they said that the evidence that all animal species on Earth today emerged about at the same time as humans.
Yeah, that was part of the DNA barcoding study, wasn't it?
It had something to do with mitochondrial DNA.
Yeah, I actually read that one. That's you're right, and it's very interesting that
And they did
they
actually
come up with all sorts of creative ways to explain. Oh well, it's just this round of life force. Like, okay, so everything that's here popped into per our own study and our own models, basically all popped into existence at the same time. Well, that's convenient.
Yeah, why don't they just teach the facts in school and cut out the nonsense? You know?
Oh man, standing Lord Pudding had one more jab before he said goodnight. He said, "I read. Look, standing, studying enough to see through your crap takes about 20 minutes."
You know, he just corners himself. He's digging himself this hole he can't get out of, because when we first debated chromosome 2 fusion, for example, he was making comments about how wrong I was weeks before it. Weeks. A lot more than 20 minutes. Then we did the debate, and then he complained that he was blindsided. He didn't study enough. So the molecular clocks now, it's been a few days, a lot more than 20 minutes of study, and he's still not ready to debate that topic. So clearly he needs a little more to get ready for these debates.
Well, okay, so this corrects me. It's a little zinger for me. How many books on genetics have you read, Johnny boy? Well, I've read quite a few, but a large percentage of my understanding and knowledge of genetics comes directly from reading the papers on it that the books usually are referring to. So I go and read the source material, not just by the books that I can hold up on camera and then admit that I didn't read. I read the papers. So it really fascinates me how these people talk trash to us about, like, where do you get your information from? It's, I do not know how many times I have to tell you. I read the source papers on XYZ topic. I literally usually read 3, 4, 5, 6 a day. Sometimes way more than that. It was pretty funny, actually, a couple weeks ago, and I said that in one of his videos. He went on like, John said he read 10 papers in a day. Like, it took me and all day to get through 2. I'm like, okay, so you're suggesting that you're too stupid to make it through more than 2 in an entire day? Is that the point you're making? I'm sorry that I have the ability to comprehend things at a faster rate than you. My bad. Yeah, I don't reduce myself to your level of stupidity. Apologies. My brain must be more powerful than yours. I don't know what to say. I mean, can you not get through more than that? I mean, you claim to be a super smart guy, so I'm not really sure you're not being able to comprehend faster than that. I mean, 2 in a day, it's not that complicated. These things usually aren't more than about 10, 15 pages. It's called reading. Anyway, reading comprehension skills, folks.
John, I did link earlier today an article which I wrote a couple days ago, and it is interesting that there are 37 different DNA codes beside the standard code, and they are mostly variations in mitochondria. Now, we have to ask ourselves, how did that diversification occur by evolution? Because at the moment that you change the meaning of a codon, you have to change as well the selection of the amino acids. Yeah. So you actually destroy the function. Right. So either you have these codes correct at once from the beginning with the right assignment to the amino acids to have functional proteins, or it doesn't work. You cannot change and evolve a genetic code from one to another.
Well, according to the evolutionists and the abiogenesis folks, somehow it is reasonable to propose that a code that doesn't have to be in existence all at once is somehow a way you can explain the development of the genetic code at all. I mean, if that is actually going to be that concept is actually going to be considered and published and accepted to be a peer-reviewed theory about the origin of the genetic code itself, that hey, you guess what, guys? We were able to come up with a mathematical projection of how this could happen if only a third of the code at a time had to exist. Whoa! What's up, folks? I mean, anything is possible at that point. I mean,
It's crazy. And
something I need to work in its entirety in order for it to actually work doesn't have to exist in its entirety in order for me to explain how it came to exist in its entirety. I mean, it's
exactly
how that is not the. I mean, just the like a double take worthy. Like, did you guys actually wait a minute? Hang on, you just wrote a paper on this, and the conclusion is if it didn't have to all exist at the same time, therefore it is now plausible that it could probable that this could come into existence. I mean,
well, if
get
you have
out of here.
Code, if you have the genetic code and you have the information stored through it in DNA, so what? If you don't have the translation machinery, if you don't have tRNA, amino acid tRNA synthetases, if you don't have the ribosome, if you don't have the signal recognition particle, you have a genetic code for what? For nothing. It makes it is just there, and that's it. You need the machinery to express the code and to make a functional product through it. So you need actually to have everything in place. Otherwise, nothing works. And that's precisely the point that I point out in that paper that I published 2-3 days ago, and I outlined 13 different things that they start with the RNA hypothesis, and then they go further to DNA. I can outline them. Getting the basic elements to make the building blocks of life, the first problem. The RNA world, the second. RNA and DNA synthesis, the third. Polymerization through catalysis on clay, the fourth. The eigenthreshold, the fifth. The transition from the RNA world to the DNA world, the sixth. Obtaining the genetic code, the seventh. The genetic code is optimal amongst 1 million. Explain that. The second, overlapping code in DNA in order to orchestrate the expression of DNA through the gene regulatory network. The seventh, the amazing information storage capacity of DNA. Then getting the information in the genome. Getting the gene expression machinery to make proteins. And then finally, the origin of the 37 gene codes, where did they come from? These are separately, each one of them, problems which science cannot solve by materialism.
Right. And we need to get these top scientists, biologists to explain how an organism can change from using one language to another language, and even getting the information to make all the ribosomes and proteins and everything that are required all at the same time as the information to make them.
You need to have everything. There are 25 different protein complexes which work together, and if one is missing, you don't have a gene expression and you don't have functional proteins. You have the cell is an all or nothing process. You can't these stories of protocells, that's just pseudoscientific nonsense. That doesn't work.
Yeah, the thing that it really fascinates me in when you really break down the point you're making, right, of you must have the transcription and translation mechanisms, or who cares if you have the data, and vice versa. But what gets me is how the blinders go on when you make the comparison of like, awesome, dude, you've got a flash drive. If you have nothing to plug it into, who cares?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
You cannot express the data. Like, I do not understand, especially like 100, 75, 80 years ago, before computer technology, even really existed in terms of for the layman. I can understand why people had a hard time, comprehending, as well as a proclivity to accept this. Oh, it's just chemical reactions and all this kind of stuff, right? Fast forward to now with what we know and everything about technology. Like, yeah, come on, really, seriously, folks. You have a flash drive. You have nowhere to plug it in.
Yeah.
Is there any
Exactly.
point in the data? No. Okay, cool. So not only do you now need to explain how the information got on the flash drive in the first place, because how are you going to put anything on the flash drive unless you plugged it into your computer and transferred files over to it? Or when it was manufactured, data was installed during the manufacturing process. Like, there's only two ways the data enter onto that device, period. Now,
Right.
to express it, you have to plug it into a computer, period, or have an adapter to plug it into your phone, which is also a computer, to be able to access that information. Like, this is not rocket science, people. This is exactly what we're talking about. Again, to the atheists, to the evolutionists, would you ever make the argument that somehow the data came into existence and was installed and accessed and executed without the devices and the technologies needed to do both? Yes or no? Obviously, the answer is no. So why is it unreasonable to conclude that an intelligent agent put these mechanisms in place, because this is the exact same thing that is required for life to exist?
Yeah. Exactly.
And
And the
try.
analogy that we make is not an analogy in the strict sense, but it is a one-to-one parallel. And for
Yeah.
that reason, I say that cells are chemical factories in a literal sense, because how cells do things is a perfect parallel to how we do things. There is the information, and there is the transformation of the information in actually making the products, and cells do the same thing. So you have
And the irony is that the cellular processes are dramatically more efficient than anything that we've come up
oh,
with.
sure, yes,
So,
yes,
sorry, I cut you off there, Jungle. What were you saying?
Well, there's a lot going right inside the cells, you know. So if you take everything that's working, that's functioning, there's some things are not functioning, you could say, but if you take everything that's functioning and then try to say that everything's going right by making mistakes, that's you can get all this information to get all this. Just go to Otangelo's websites and look at all the mechanisms and functions that have to be just right. Otherwise, the cell dies. It doesn't live. And yes, we don't live as long as we used to, but it is working, and you get all this thing, everything going right, and you're trying to tell me that everything that's going right, all these chemical cycles and proteins and mechanisms and everything that have to be exactly right. You're telling me that came about by making mistakes? You're out of your mind. And I'll tell that to any biologist, any scientist that's out there. You're out of your mind. You're totally out of your mind.
yeah. And in that article which I wrote 2 days ago, I made a considerable shift, because until a short time ago, I took it by face value to think that the minimal cell would be equivalent to a mycoplasma, which has about 500,000 nucleotides. Until I did find out that mycoplasma is um, uh, it is a host cell. Actually, no, uh, it is a symbiont which lives in the human organism, and it doesn't have any machinery to express to make amino acids. So it takes its food from the host. So you cannot use that sized cell as a model to say that is the smallest probable cell to suppose that started life. You need to have a cell which actually makes all the basic building blocks like amino acids. And I did investigate this, and the smallest free living bacteria has actually about 1.3 million nucleotides and about 1,300 proteins. So it's considerably more complex. And if you make a calculation about the odds to have the nucleotide sequence in the right order with that size, it's 1 to 10 to the 700,000. So that's it. That's absolutely out of any reasonable probability, and that is, in my view, simply a smackdown evidence against any naturalistic scenario.
The math just doesn't add up. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, and not even talking about just from a math standpoint, just from like a plausibility, just a general common sense plausibility perspective. It's like, okay, folks, to win the lottery, you have to pick 100,000 numbers in a row in the correct order. Do you think you have a chance to win?
Yeah.
If somebody did win, would you think they cheated? Or they somehow magically picked 100,000 numbers in a row correctly? Not just randomly. They have to be these random numbers have to be in the correct order. Not just overall, in the correct order. Like, do you actually think that is a remotely plausible outcome? And again, as I said, if somebody did so, would you think that they somehow hijacked the game and cheated? Right. I would argue that the very rational conclusion would be yes, they cheated.
And it's not just the single organisms. It's all the different organisms side by side simultaneously morphing and mutating and gaining function and all kind of,
Well, absolutely. Where I'm going with all that is like, Montano was making the point of, we're talking about 1.2 million base pairs, right? I said 100,000, right? Let's go even smaller. Let's go 10,000. Do you actually think anybody could pick 10,000 numbers in a row correctly? No, nobody actually would think that is a rational. You'd be like, why would I play this game? That is dumb. Like, nobody could ever win that. There's no way you could possibly win that.
And the problem
and yet, we're being told that's how we exist.
Yeah, and the problem is much deeper, actually. Today, I brought that argument, and an atheist said to me, well, if you have a whole ocean of molecules fluctuating and doing chemical reactions, then somehow that eventually could occur, and if you have millions of years or 200-300 millions of years, it will happen. And then I said, then I did link to another investigation which I made, which I linked here, and the problems just to make the nucleotides or the amino acids, only in regards of the nucleotides, I am listing 27 different problems to make these nucleotides. So if we had actually the numbers to put them in a row, 1.3 million numbers in the right order, that would be a problem. But even the problem to have the numbers is a huge problem, abiogenesis problem, and science hasn't solved that. How do you get the numbers, or as an analogy, the nucleotides actually to make the genome? It is a phenomenal problem, and people, they don't realize the huge amount unsurmountable.
Well, and to extenuate beyond that is, and this is what it drives me up the wall, that people just so many people do not seem to comprehend the significance of what I'm about to say. There is, they claim it's all chemistry. It's like, okay, folks, there is no chemical bond between the base pairs. In each set of base pairs, there's a hydrogen bond between the two nucleotides that make up a base pair. There is no chemical bond between the base pair next to it.
Yeah, that's another problem.
There is no chemical bond, therefore there is no chemical proclivity to make the sequence happen. There is nothing. There is no chemical. It's not that there. Oh, there might be, and we just haven't figured it out yet. No. There is zero chemical bond between the sets of base pairs. There's a bond to the phosphate backbone. There is no bond between the base pairs themselves.
Yeah, that would be the same thing as claiming that.
They have to be charged. They have to have the 3 phosphates in order to have the energy to make the polymerization, and that wasn't extant either.
It'd be the same thing as saying the environment, the information's coming from the environment, which is also nonsense.
Yeah. Did you guys see in my chat with Smokey that I was on Sharon Q's channel tonight?
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, it was fun. Would you like that I link to it?
Yeah, please do. Yeah.
It is.
So what
It
were you
is.
guys discussing on her channel?
Well, I called it. I was the last caller tonight, and I really triggered her. She went out of mind. Really. Let me just
Yeah,
check.
let's see it.
I didn't know she was doing call-ins.
I did the first time. I don't think she will permit me to call again because she didn't like the call, and I thought she would actually answer uh, just normally, you know.
Well, on Tangelo, on Tangelo is like on a mission to get blocked and banned from all atheist call-in shows. Yeah, I think that on Tangelo actually gets underlying amusement and entertainment from. It's like a badge of honor when he gets banned from triggering atheists.
Somebody's got
Okay,
to do it.
I did link the link to the video tonight. If you want, you can put it on the screen.
Let's see.
I think it will be entertaining for you guys to watch this. She really got triggered with me.
Let's see, where is it?
It's at 1 hour, 15 minutes, and 41 seconds starts my call.
Come on, StreamYard's being slow. It's not showing it to me. Hang on.
Oh, Apologia
Oh.
too?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because I know a guy named Paul Enns from the Amazon, and he's Canadian too, but it's not the same Paul Enns. They must have a lot of Paul Ennses or something. But he was my good friend.
Okay.
Yeah, she's interesting. She came on one of my streams, and it seems like a nice. I mean, she seems like a nice girl, but I think a lot of them are very, very nice until their worldview gets challenged, and then it's a complete and utter meltdown of just
I was
my view of existence is being like shattered before me. I must stop this now, before my entire world collapses around me.
Yeah, the two previous calls, they were chatting about 15, 20 minutes or so, and I was listening, and I said, well, these guys seem pretty relaxed, different than Matt Dillahunty and crowd of the Atheist Experience. So I was the last caller, and I was very surprised because she immediately became triggered.
Yeah, it's conditional then.
Smokey and I were talking about this, of how there seems to be a trend with that of, if it's people they either don't view as a threat or they view as an asset because they're uneducated or just uninformed, unknowledgeable on a subject, they
extend the call.
Exactly. They love those people coming. It's like, oh yeah, let's just let this person continue to exemplify the positions that I take all the time about like, see this. What have I been telling you about those Christian people?
Yeah.
Like, look at this person. And it's really what they're trying to accomplish. And then the second it's oh wait, this is a coherent argument. Oh crap, what am I going to do? Meltdown alert. And it's something kind of interesting I've noticed. This past couple of weeks, especially, of different folks who have been talking a bunch of trash, and then coming on a live stream talking, and then either being complete jerks and just eventually leaving, or coming to the realization that their mindset and their preconceived assumption is way off. And then for several of them, they have come to the realization that, oh, wait, they are less knowledgeable about science than us. It's like, it's interesting to observe those. You can tell people having those realizations. Some of them even have admitted it, but then they still continue to assert that their pre-existing worldview is correct, even though they've admitted that we know more than them about the scientific
I
arguments.
immediately challenged them and I said, how can we explain our existence without a creator? And Paul, he then admitted, he said, well, we don't have an answer to that yet, but science is working on it. And I said, well, then you're using a materialism of the gaps argument.
Yeah.
And then Shannon, she went immediately to the attack and said, well, how do you explain our existence? And well,
We have a
yeah, and then I started to list our arguments, and then she did hang up on me and accused me of being dishonest and of being a presuppositionalist,
Presupposition.
yeah, and I'm not using that argument, so
right. It's evidential argument.
yeah.
Joseph had a
Presupposition.
great comment. Hiding behind lack of belief is the worst thing about ardent atheists. If atheists are vocal about theism, it's because they have a conscious aversion to it.
Yeah,
That's how this all works. It's
true.
very
They hide behind the weak atheism label. Oh, we just don't believe you. And what do you believe? Oh, the burden of proof is on you. We don't make any claim. So I ask, so what? Are you wasting your time? Are you going
Yeah.
also to other chat rooms to declare that you don't believe in Santa Claus or in pink unicorns or in UFOs or whatever? I mean, if you don't believe in God,
So-
justify it.
Yeah, just give it up. Since you don't have an argument, just give it up. You don't have a position, so
Yeah.
you can't tell us anything.
Yeah. So I did call them out. I said, well, if you don't have an alternative explanation of our existence, so what is your show good for? What is the purpose of your show?
Right.
You know?
Useless.
well.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting. I had this guy talking a bunch of trash in my comments the other day, and was going on about this whole tangent about like how wrong I was on probability and such. Like, just say, and all I said was that it was more probable that based on the evidence that God exists, And he said there's only a 1%. I would say there's no more than a 1% chance that there's any God. And I'm like, well, pretty much everybody accepts the fact that either there was, or there wasn't, or there is, there isn't. Like, so by definition, it's 50-50.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just no way around this. Now, if you want to argue which God is correct, that's a totally different conversation in terms of the probability of which God of which religion is correct. But whether or not there was, there wasn't, like, it's pretty well established. You were kind of touching on this a minute ago on Tangelo. It's pretty well accepted in all aspects of philosophy that question is answered. It's either it is or it isn't.
Yeah.
There is no third option. It's either there was or there wasn't.
Yeah, I brought that up tonight. I start always with the framework. I say, what is that we are going to discuss about? And I said we have two options: either there is a God or there is no God. That is the two possibilities, And she agreed on that.
When they counter with, well, we just don't know yet. I'm like, well, just because we don't know doesn't change whether or not there is or there isn't. You still ultimately arrive at the exact same end conclusion. Like, either there is or there isn't.
And
but
if it's not God, it's naturalism. And what's the cause of naturalism? They don't even have a cause of naturalism.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, man, I think... is this the Kevin that was over on Smokey's channel earlier?
Kevin.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
This is Maddox.
Yes, John over there.
What's up? Is this Kevin from, were you over on Smokey's channel earlier?
It sure is. And hey, this will go better because now you guys can hear me and I'm more direct and it's not delayed and I'm not being muted.
What?
So what's going on, man? Did you, I left off in the middle of y'all's stuff. I had to go start the stream. So did you
Yeah, I
have
left too. Yeah, I left too.
Okay.
I just kicked into this one and I heard you guys talking and I heard you talk about I honestly didn't even hear the beginning of what you were saying, but I did hear you mention the probability and or likelihood of whatever God you guys are talking about existing, and so I just decided to focus on that since you guys are discussing low probability of a God existing
of a natural God. No probability of a natural cause.
Oh yeah, I think there's
John,
a very low probability of a natural God.
John, can I just interrupt a moment? I've started today an own channel on YouTube. I just linked to it. And I would like to invite you guys the next coming week or so. I would like to make a first live chat as you guys are doing here. And I would like to invite you everyone to participate at my first live stream.
When will that be?
I don't know yet. I will inform it later. And the channel name is The God Talk.
Okay.
Did you put it in the I got it in the StreamYard chat. Did you put that in the YouTube chat as well?
Yes, right. That is the new channel which I started today.
Okay.
I'm subscribing now.
I'll subscribe it. And hit the notification bell.
Right,
I'm subscribed.
Yeah.
Okay, so Kevin.
Yes, yeah, that's me.
Yeah, I know it's you. Okay, so you were coming in to talk about probability. And just so you know, in the context of this, we are discussing the point that was being made by Antangelo is either there is a God, or either there is a creator or there is not a creator. There are two options. There's no third alternative. It's either one or the other.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Would you? I mean, that's a fundamental question in terms of going down the paths of reaching a conclusion about whether theism is rational or irrational. So, would you agree that fundamental of either there is or there is not is a correct assumption, starting point assumption?
Entirely, it's a correct assumption that there is either not a God or there is a God, right?
Yeah, and if there is not a God, what is there?
Are you a theist or an atheist, Kevin?
Does that matter?
I think so. It's important to know what position that you hold.
You can hide what you want.
Yeah, of course you can hide.
But what if I said I was a theist and I was a theist about Allah?
Okay, so Kevin, we already know that you are not. So here is a concept. It's called being an adult, not a man-child, and actually having honest conversation rather than a bunch of obfuscation and run around BS. So if you actually want to have adult conversations, then you state your positions rather than BS around.
Why run from your position?
Right, but the fact is, I think you guys run from your positions. You see, and so just because you three are on the same.
I'm a believer. I'm an evangelical Christian, and I have absolutely no problem to say that to anyone.
Right. Actually, how do you say your name again? Deontolot. What is it again?
Yeah. Ontological.
It's Ontangelo is his name.
Ontangelo. Okay, Ontangelo. I actually have heard you debate a couple of times. You seem pretty forthright, consistent in your argument, and you don't dodge. However, I've listened to. Wait, who is this again? I know this is Maddox, but who's the other guy?
Jungle Jargon.
Jungle Jargon. Yeah, I've heard your debates. You seem to want to dismiss a lot of arguments against your position, and then kind of just steamroll people with what you want to say and your opinion.
So what's
But
that got to do with you not having a position?
Oh no, I just misspoke earlier because I said you guys do that. But
Well, we have a position. Do you have a position?
On what? On whether or not a God exists? Yeah, I do. I have a position on that. I have not been convinced that a God exists.
Okay, that's all we were asking.
Yeah. But that's why I asked you earlier why it matters.
Well, we want to know what
if it doesn't matter, then why did you say, well, I could respond and say I'm a theist and believe in Allah?
Well, because you guys seem to not even have a don't even have a solid foundation on whether or not it exists.
Very
right?
disingenuous.
Isn't that true though? But do you have a solid foundation and foundational belief on whether or not a God exists?
Sure. I do. Yeah. I mean, I literally
of course we do.
have a channel about this exact topic. I mean, I'm not really sure why you would even ask a question like that.
You guys all believe in the same God?
It's why we're YEC.
There's only one.
Oh, there is only one. Okay, cool. So these are things that I hear. I hear different stories from all. Well, I don't know anything. Neither do you. I'm agnostic about.
You didn't know that there's okay, whatever.
I'm agnostic about my atheism. Are you gnostic about your theism?
Hey, hang on. You don't know if you're an atheist?
No. I'm gnostic about my atheism.
I'm pretty sure you said you were agnostic about your atheism.
I'm agnostic about my atheism.
You don't know about your atheism. So you don't know about your atheism.
No, I would never claim complete knowledge to whether or not a God potentially exists. And that's what you guys are still debating right now amongst yourselves. You guys are still talking about probabilities here.
No.
Oh, you're not? I thought you guys were just saying... Oh, you're not?
Mate, I've seen the supernatural. My mate died for an hour.
Before we continue, Kevin, how old are you?
We don't...
How old am I?
Yeah.
Why does that matter to you?
I really don't care to explain that to you. I would like to know how old you are.
I don't need to express that to you.
Do you not know how old you are?
Well, just say within a couple of years.
7 days.
If you don't want to say your actual age, just say within a couple of years.
God, I wish we could do this in person so badly, so you guys would just get real with yourselves, man. It's freaking so frustrating to listen to.
I mean, literally, dude, I don't know how hard it is to say how old you are. Like, grown adults can usually be like, oh, I am this old.
Then why don't you call out Smokey for not just presenting his mug?
I'm asking you the question.
So we can actually read facial expressions.
So the reason
this is so inconsistent, dude.
Okay, shut your mouth, and I'm going to explain my position of why I'm asking you the question. Okay?
Like that. You just
grown adults.
I haven't done that to you.
Grown adults.
Just listen.
Jesus, dude.
Okay, stop being a man-child. Yeah. Okay? Yeah. The reason I'm asking the question is that different people of different age groups have different perspectives, different worldviews, and different experiences. And in my experience, it usually is advantageous to understand the position from an age and a maturity and an experience perspective that the person you're conversing with, in order to come up with more direct communication methods that would resonate with that particular person. This is extraordinarily basic communication theory. So, how old are you, Kevin?
46.
Is that true? Because you do not sound 46.
Good. I hear that a lot. That's great. I appreciate it.
Okay. So, because you sound like you might be 22 or 23.
Good. That is brilliant. So let's keep talking, dude.
Okay. So if you're 46, when were you born? What year were you born? 46, go.
1973. I'll be 47 on September 17th, as a matter of fact.
Wow, man, you are a seriously immature 46-year-old then.
Well, then let's keep talking, dude. School me and educate me.
Can I ask? I don't understand. You said you are agnostic towards your atheism.
Yeah, I'm an agnostic atheist.
Can you elucidate it? I don't understand what you mean by that. Can you elucidate?
Okay, I'll elucidate it. It's like if you told me you're a theist, and I say, "Do you know for certain that God exists?" and you say yes, and I would say,
"Yeah, we do."
Certain that God exists?
Yes.
Okay, I am getting what
100%.
You're saying
then you're a Gnostic theist, correct?
Yeah, I understand.
Okay, so I'm an agnostic atheist. I'm actually a little more.
You are not sure if your position of materialism or atheism holds scrutiny or water. Is
No,
that
I didn't
correct?
equate the two. I never equate. Nope, that's not correct. I didn't state that. I didn't say that atheism is equated to materialism. I didn't say that.
So what do you mean by that, agnostic atheist? What
Put
do
it
you
this
mean
way.
by that? I don't
You really want to
understand.
know the truth, or are you going to mute me like Maddox likes to do and what Smokey likes to do? Because I'll
I
actually
am
tell you.
asking you. I
Okay,
would
so
like to
dude, I
know.
have not muted you a single time. So why don't you stop making shit up
Oh, okay.
and
Okay. Cool.
stop
Cool.
literally lying when I
Okay,
have
cool.
not muted you? Okay, so
Okay,
you can
cool.
retract that statement and you
Okay,
can
you know what? I
apologize
retract it.
for
I retract it.
literally
I
being a
really
liar.
apologize.
While calling
apologize.
saying that we don't know what we're talking about, you're literally being a liar.
No.
So
I
grow up and
apologize,
stop being a
Maddox.
46-year-old man-child.
Maddox,
Okay,
Maddox, I'm sorry that I'm throwing you off. Okay,
dude,
I'm
you're
Just
not
really
throwing
sorry.
me
go
off.
and
You're
look, state a
literally acting
position.
like a child who
No, and I'm
claims to be
sorry that I
46.
lied.
You're
You
being a
literally just
troll.
lied, bro. You
I
literally
know. I'm
just lied.
sorry I lied. Can we move
You're
on?
trolling.
Line up.
Kevin, Kevin, can you state a position on something like pick something that
Yeah.
you reckon that we're wrong
My
about?
position is I don't believe your opinion-based, subjective stance.
That's not your
But we have
position.
thousands of
That is,
opinions.
yes, it
on-
is. It
That's
totally is.
not
'Cause you're
your.
only
What
using.
is your positive position? What is your positive claim?
My positive claim is that the claims you make about the God that you
No,
claim you
that's
believe
not
in
your.
are.
That's
So
not
you are.
your
That
So
is a
you
positive
are.
claim.
claim.
So
What
you are
evidence do you
basically.
have?
That is
you
what
are
is not your
hey,
claim. That is
listen.
what is not your
No,
claim. That's not your
no.
claim. That is
Okay,
what is
ready? I'll
not
make
your
it more simple
claim.
for you. Then I'll
You're
make it more simple
saying
for you. Hey, Jargon,
you're
I'll make it more
saying
simple
it's
for you.
not my
Stop.
claim,
Stop and let me
and you're
speak.
saying that's your
Okay.
claim.
You
It's
don't wanna let
not
me
your
speak,
claim.
don't worry. Okay.
We're asking you
Here we
what
go.
your
Exactly
claim
what I told
is.
you to do.
What
This
is your
perfect. Go ahead.
positive position? What is your claim? Not what is not your claim.
Are you done talking? Can I speak now, Jungle?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Okay, so you want to know my positive claim about what?
About
Anything?
worldview. Do you believe there is a God or there is no God?
Give us
As
some
of
evidence.
yet, as Maddox, look, do you want me to speak?
That wasn't me, dude. Okay, listen. Just everybody be quiet. I'm going to give this guy 60 seconds to talk. Nobody say a word until I say you can talk. It is your turn to talk, Kevin. Go ahead.
Cool.
Do not.
Perfect.
However, before you talk,
Perfect.
this is not about what you think we think. This is about what you think. This is your
No,
chance
that's
to
the only
speak
reason
and
I'm
explain
calling
what
you because
you
I don't
think.
care if you. I don't care
Go
if you
ahead.
think about what I think.
No,
Put it this way. The only reason that we're even talking is because you put yourself out there publicly. You're on debates. You have a channel. You visit other people's channels. You speak your mind about how the universe operates. You make claims about gods and whether they exist or not. You talk about probabilities in philosophy. You talk about basic assumptions in philosophy and in logic and ontology and epistemology.
And we
So
back it up with peer-reviewed papers.
Jason.
Wait a second. I thought I had at least 60 seconds, and I believe that was
Shut
about
up and
20.
talk.
Okay, so how? Okay, so who's this wanker, dude? What is that? Was that a mystery man? I didn't know he was on the.
Okay,
Just,
everybody
mate,
be
when somebody
quiet.
jumps in with a couple of
can
words,
the mediator
it doesn't.
please like jump
I wasn't
in and tell this guy to shut the
over
fuck up? Seriously, are you serious? Who is this wanker? Is this guy going to tell me that Jesus is alive and well
you
in his
for
heart
real?
too?
Everybody is
My
on
friend-
mute. Everybody is on mute. We're going to let this idiot talk. Okay,
there you go.
continue. You have 15
you're
seconds
gonna
left.
allow the idiot to talk. Perfect. Dude.
You've been
Okay.
calling people wankers, so you can go ahead and talk. 15 more seconds.
I
Go.
like using the term wanker after I've been called a man-child, after I've been called whatever else you and Smokey like to call me earlier, because you guys get pretty mad pretty easily, and that's fine. It's very entertaining to witness, and I love riling you up in text with the messages, because you never answer anything. Here's my position. When you told, this is a simple foundational storybook position that you can argue against, okay, Maddox, if you choose, and I bet you have no answer for this. You'll have an answer, but it'll be vacuous and assumptive in your opinion. You claimed that your nephew was not aborted, and that because he wasn't aborted, he was allowed to flourish as a accomplished pianist, concert performer, some high IQ guy who does a lot of stuff and is 6'6" or whatever the hell Heidi said. You said he was. You said he's this tall, charismatic person who's great. And that's a great story. I believe you. I think that the pregnancy was successful and they bore a nice young man. Okay. But you also claimed that they jumped around and visited 10 different doctors that all told them to get an abortion. So these weren't Christian doctors, apparently, because a Christian doctor wouldn't tell you to get an abortion. Right now, unless they're the wrong kind of Christian, I want to know why there's a discrepancy there. Why would you keep visiting doctors that aren't going to tell you anything but to abort this mission? and then still defy that. I just don't believe the story you told, dude. Basically, there's too many holes in it.
Okay,
So my position.
I've given you way more than
is
60 seconds. So I got your point. Okay, that and your assumption there, your conclusion, I guess, that's honestly just borderline retarded. Because
Okay, explain to me why it's retarded, Maddox.
Because you literally just made the assertion that a
Uh-huh.
Christian would never go see any physician that wasn't also a Christian going to tell them exactly what they want to
Why
hear
did
from
they
their
even go to
religious
that? No.
worldview.
No, that's
That's
just one
that's
piece of it.
I mean, that's honestly one of the dumbest things I've ever heard, dude. Like, are
It's
you
one of the-
never? Hang on,
I know, I think
it's
it's
my
stupid
response
too.
now. Okay, you're on
But
mute.
you've accused John of lying, so let him.
Okay, so you have literally just I will parry this with, okay, you're a agnostic atheist, whatever the hell that means. Are you ever going to go to any doctor and get any opinion about anything unless that person is also an agnostic atheist? Like, that's one of the stupidest things I have ever heard. Nobody would ever operate from the perspective of like, hey, this person is a specialist in X field, specifically about, in this context, pregnancy. Because this person doesn't go to my church, I'm not going to go see that person, which is basically what you're saying. Like, that's just dumb. Like, what world do you live in where that makes any logical sense whatsoever in context of going and getting second opinions from people who are recognized as experts in a field?
He's trolling.
Question in there? Are you asking me a question? Am I ready to speak yet? Am I off mute? What's up? I don't even know.
You're
my
off
status.
mute. Go ahead and respond to my point.
Well, see, like I said,
are you ever? No. Hey, the question is,
I'm answering it.
Hang on, I'm clarifying because you're obviously about to go off on your little troll
No,
diatribes.
I'm not. I'm going to answer your question.
Go ahead. Let's see if you actually answer it. Go ahead.
No, I would not subscribe to that because of those reasons. The end, dude. What's your next question? I think that's a stupid reason.
Then why? Okay, you think what's stupid?
To base my medical counsel on their religious beliefs.
No. I asked you directly if you stated why would they go to any doctor that doesn't agree with them?
I think that's stupid, but I assume that.
Then why did you make that? Then why did you make the assertion that me saying they went and did and talked to those exact people? Why did you make the assertion that was
full
of crap? Go ahead.
I'll tell you why right now. Because it's inconsistent with what you say your worldview is. If you guys are so convinced,
how in the hell is that?
I'm gonna explain it. Can I speak? Dude, you are so hilarious, bro.
Dude, you're borderline retarded. If you think that the point you're making,
I wish we were in person so badly on a stage at lecterns. Actually,
honestly, I would too, because you're obviously a little a man child who would be getting looked down on.
You're not even letting me answer. All I told you is that I'm willing to debate you man to man in person at a lectern.
Where do you live?
I live in Northern California.
Northern California?
Yep.
I live in Nashville, Tennessee. Fly to Nashville. We'll do it live on. We'll do it live, face to face.
I got a buddy who lives there. He's a musician there. He's a good guy. Okay, so
cool. Fly to Nashville. When you want to do it?
I don't know. Maybe in the next 6 months.
Dude, dude. Flights are cheap right now, bro. How big are your balls? Fly. It's like we're in Northern California.
Hey, I'm not. Do you think?
Hey, dude, you just called out. You just straight up talked about being men.
So see how you do this? You're derailing the conversation because
I'm not derailing the conversation. I'm directly addressing a assertion that you just made. So you just said you wanted to talk face to face, right? Okay, I know. Actually, I know quite a. Hey, hang on. I actually know quite a few people who own venues here in Nashville, and they're closed right now. So I mean, we can probably set them up to let us do a live.
I don't even want an audience. I don't care. I'd rather just meet you for coffee and talk.
No. We'll do it live, buddy, in a venue, on camera, live stream.
This is already recorded. So listen.
Let's do a live stream, bro. You want to do man to man?
Yeah, that's what I would love to do something where I could see. Actually, I want to see Smokey's face.
Hey, come on, fly to Nashville, bro.
Is that where he is? He's in Nashville.
No, he's not in Nashville. I said, okay. You're talking to me right now.
Look,
you just said you wanted to talk about face to face to me. Hey, I'll put my camera on right now. Turn your camera on. Let's talk.
I love hearing yourself talk, bro. It's hilarious. Go on.
Hey,
what else are you gonna say? Whenever I
you want to turn hey, you want me to turn my camera on right now? You turn your camera, I'll turn mine. We can talk face to face right now.
No, it's not worth it right now for me. Listen.
So you want to talk a big game when I say I'll turn my camera? You
won't? All right, hold on. You want me to get off my cell phone and freaking go put my freaking kid to bed and talk to you? No, dude, I can do this at another time. I'll schedule with you for sure. I don't even need to get all gussied up, dude. I don't really give a fuck, honestly. It's just kind of inconvenient right now, but I'll still get back to the
show. So go back to the stupidity you were spewing about how in my worldview my sister wouldn't go see a doctor.
Can I finish my thought about it? Here's my point. My point is that I think there's too many holes in your story. And the reason there are is because that's one. First off, your sister flew around all over the country or all over the world or whatever to talk to 10 different doctors that all told her the same thing, even though she was already convicted to not having an abortion. How does that make any sense?
Why would he lie?
Because that's not consistent with your worldview. If you're committed to being a Christian and you said their Christian faith determined that they would never abort anyway, then why are they talking to 10 different people about it? That makes no sense, bro. That's why I think you're making something up. And if they actually
I can't
did
believe
do
that you're going on
so
about such an
Jason, let me respond.
insignificant point.
Okay.
It's not insignificant.
Okay,
it's totally
dude.
significant.
It is
This is what you guys
insignificant.
claim to believe.
Okay, hang on.
This is
Okay,
what you
so
claim
here's
to
why
believe,
your position.
bro.
Okay, here's why your position
And tell that
is
wanker
so.
to just shut the fuck up.
You're
Dude.
The reason-
listen, you little scumbag.
He's a troll.
Listen, the reason that your position is so borderline just dumb is she had 3 different complications, and it was literally a what can be done so that she doesn't die as well, which is why my mother and I flew to Houston, Texas from England and stayed with her for 6 months. And so much I ended up getting my driver's license in Houston, Texas. I had a chance to do that because I get to circumvent the whole English driving school crap for this whole deal. Because it was not only were they saying that the kid wouldn't survive, they were saying that there was a extraordinarily high probability that my sister was going to die, and because of the 3 different complications. So yes, they were seeing additional experts to find out, can this be treated? Is there anything that can be done? Are there any new ways? How do we mitigate this? What are the risks? This is extraordinarily
Whether it was 6,
basic.
7, or 10, it matters little.
This is extraordinarily basic premise that is done in pretty much every type of medical condition. If you have the resources to do so, you find out different options. Like, this is like your point you're making is like saying that, I'm not going to go to the Mayo Clinic to see if there's any new treatment or get a second opinion on how to treat my particular strain of cancer. Like, nobody would make that position have any relevance in relation to religion, to go and look at all of the options. Like, that's just, I mean, are you honestly that stupid? You're off mute now.
Okay, so when you're ready to speak, you just put me on mute. Is that your rule? Just so I'm clear on how this goes.
Don't ask questions. Respond.
Hey, Wayne,
I literally take you off.
Respond.
Dude, I literally take you off mute and you ask me if you can talk. You're literally off mute. Go ahead.
Okay.
You can take the mute off yourself, by the way.
So I don't know who that guy with the accent is, but he's annoying. So Maddox, here's
You know
the deal.
who I
dude.
am.
Maddox, here's the deal. Look,
You're an idiot, mate. You've sat there, you haven't put up one bit of evidence for evolution. Oh, but that's right. You don't have to, because you're agnostic about your position. So it's up to everybody else to hold your hand and wipe your bum.
Shut up.
Get lost, you little toss bag. Get lost, you little wanker. Fuck off. Get fucked. You want to sit here and fucking bring up a position, you little turd fucking shit for brains cockhead.
He's a troll. He's a
Fucking
troll.
bring up a position, you little
No, you
wanker.
guys are
Don't
trolls,
sit
apparently.
there, you little wanker.
Maddox knows
Don't
what's going
sit
on.
there
He knows
telling
I'll
everybody
see
else they're wankers
He knows he'll
and
see
not
me.
bring up
He
a
knows he'll see
position.
me
You're
again on
crapping
Facebook.
on about idiotic points. Idiotic, stupid points that mean nothing. Bring up something to back your position. Bring up some evidence. Give us a citation. Anything to back your position that there is no God.
He doesn't have a position.
Yeah,
That's right. He doesn't have a position. That's what he's worked out to be the most annoying that he can possibly be.
Jesus
He don't take
Christ.
any
You guys are so
position. It's
fucking
safe that way because he's seen the way we destroy people when they bring up citations and they bring up this. So
Wow.
he's too scared. He's
Oh,
too
so
scared to bring up
scared.
something that we can actually get our teeth into. Bring up a
Shut
point,
up.
mate. Show us how evolution is so real and there's all. Show us all this
Wow.
evidence for
Wow.
evolution. What convinces you not to believe in a God?
Wow.
Show us all your evidence. Show
Wow.
us. Show us what makes you skeptical. Show us your evidence. Don't sit there picking up stupid little points. He said this and he might be lying and then again he might not, but there's no way for any of us to check if he is or not. So let's just bring up an idiotic point and then, look, I don't believe he's lying for a start, but you're just concentrating on stupid things. mate, if you want to come here and debate whether there's a God or not, then pick a position, pick a point, a scientific point, and then let's debate it. Don't sit there with your vague, idiotic, little ways. All you're trying to do is cause an argument. All you're trying to do is to get somebody to go off, which you've just managed to do. So you should be happy now. Bring up a point. Stop sitting there gibbering on about people's personal lives and who they are. Bring up a point. Bring up any scientific point that you believe backs your position.
Maddox clearly knew it was about to go downhill because he brought me in the room. So thanks, Maddox.
Well, I figured you might have some entertainment.
Did we have the Metal Gear Alert sound go off again? It came in the room. Wow. Kevin get triggered?
Yeah,
how you doing?
I was so triggered, bro. Oh my gosh, was I?
Well,
triggered?
here's the thing with Kevin. So he talked mad trash about wanting to have face-to-face conversations with us. So Smokey.
Yeah, but Smokey can't do that. So
I invited him.
Mate, what's the difference if you're face-to-face?
Can you shut
not?
up, dude, or what? What is wrong?
What
with
is
you,
the
bro?
difference if you're face-to-face? You can't talk if you're not face-to-face. This guy's too stupid, John. Get rid of him because he's an idiot. He can't talk unless he's face-to-face. He's just he's as thick as a plank. He can't talk unless he's face-to-face. He can't talk and bring up scientific points unless he can see people's expressions on their faces and things. What a little wet. You think we're scared of you, you little toss bag? You think we're scared? You think, honestly, I want to see him face-to-face. Oh, no, I want to see John. No, I want to see Smokey face-to-face. Honestly, mate, we know you little indirect threats. You go and shove your threats up your ass. Go and shove your little indirect threats right up your ass and shove them up there sideways while you're at it. And second of all, dickhead, bring up a point. If you're not going to bring up a point, just piss off. Get lost.
All right,
Don't sit there.
All right, Jason. Let's let him. Let's let the man-child back into the equation. Go ahead, Kevin.
Okay, so how do I camera in with you guys so you can do video? I'll just do it since this fucktard doesn't know how to listen.
There's literally.
Are you fucking kidding me? You sat there for all this.
Jason, hang on. There's literally a button. There's literally a button that says Cam and Mike, and then
Cam,
you
Mike.
like.
Okay, Cam. Okay, here we go. Your device doesn't support
I'm
video. Why
leaving
would that
in
be?
5 minutes, and I would just make one question to Kevin. Kevin, did you just join to say that you do not believe in what we believe? Is that all that you came in for, to communicate?
No. I came in because I've watched Maddox with CJ, and I've seen him debate.
But he doesn't bring up one point.
Okay, can you shut the fuck up?
You don't bring up one scientific point. It's always about, Maddox said this, and I don't believe him. But I've got Kevin, no evidence on why I don't believe him.
Kevin, I've never done a debate with CJ, so I'm not really sure what you're referring to.
You've never done a debate with on his well, you were on a modern day debate with you were. It was the four of you. It was you, Skylar, I think T-Jump was in there.
Yeah, I was not in a debate with CJ, nor Skylar.
Not
and
against
T-Jump.
him. You weren't in anything with them.
I was not in a debate with them, so obviously you weren't paying that much attention.
I think, didn't you debate T-Jump? I thought you debated him.
I debated T-Jump heads up, not in a tag team.
Maybe it was that. I'm getting it confused. But okay, so you know what? Then in honesty, man, why are you so in cahoots with Smokey? It seems like that was like really easily shown. You must have done something together.
Okay, so me and Smokey have had tag team debates, but I did not have a tag team with him against
CJ. Okay,
but not with CJ.
Nor
did I have a tag team against T-Jump. So basically, you're blurring together your positions, bro.
Well, no, I'm just blurring together where I saw your positions being presented. That's
okay. So yeah, if you think that if you're misconstruing which debate you think you derived my positions from,
matter.
No, it does. If you're misconstruing what my positions were, if you derived them from debates that I was not in, then obviously you're gonna have a misconception of what my positions are. Are you not?
It's the same position. It's the same
Okay,
position
guys, have a good night.
that I have an issue with.
Thank you, John.
I don't blame you, Angelo. I don't blame you for going, this guy's an idiot. It's just going to dribble on about people's personal lives and stupid little things.
Screaming little chimp. Go on. Screaming chimp. Is that his
You
British
are-
name, Screaming
you
Chimp,
are-
or what?
You
You are the
should be
dumbest.
embarrassed. of
I'm
You are the
yourself.
dumbest.
Hanuman.
You know what? You are one of the dumbest people we've ever had on here. Do you know that? That
I'm
you can't bring up.
Hanuman.
You know, you
Can
haven't
you
brought up
stop
one
speaking to me with
single
such
scientific
disrespect? I
argument.
am Hanuman.
Can you
Well, you don't believe me?
can you bring up a scientific argument?
You don't
One,
believe me?
just one. In what? How long you been here? An hour and a half?
I don't need to.
You don't need to because you know you're going to get
You haven't
smashed
either.
if you,
You haven't
do.
either.
Well, bring
You
up
have no-
something.
you have no-
Stop
you have
coming
no
on here and telling me you don't
scientific
believe in
argument. What are you
evolution.
talking
You're
about?
not trying to inquire to learn whether
Why do I need
evolution
to-
or
how do you
creation
know
is
I
true.
believe
You're
in-
just
how do you
here
know I
to
believe in
cause an
evolution?
argument. That's all you're here for.
Wow, I'm on mute again. Wow, I'm on mute again because I
No.
can't
No,
speak.
you're not
without-
on mute
okay.
again.
You're
Then
not
this
on
guy
mute.
doesn't freaking hear anything that comes out of my mouth
We
because
hear
he
you.
doesn't.
No,
Dude,
Fuck.
We're
stop
You're
making.
not
Hang on.
bringing
hang on.
up
Jace,
any
Jace,
scientific
I don't
points.
have to have a
Jace,
position on
Jace.
evolution to defeat what you say, dude.
Kevin. So
What do you even
again,
stand for? I don't
Let's
even know
start
what your
talking to
position is.
Kevin.
I'm fucking getting.
again,
You have no position,
do
dude,
not
except that you're a
claim,
freaking screaming chimp.
Kevin.
Listen, mate.
Stop. Hey, Jason, hang on. Kevin,
Go on, Maddox.
you are
Yeah, mate, shut
again
up.
making assertions that are false. I did not mute you. Stop
Okay,
saying that.
cool. I'm just hey,
Stop
you
saying
have,
that
so I'm just looking
when
at the
you-
track record.
Yeah, you okay?
Sorry
You can
for the
literally look at the
presumption.
button and it shows whether you're muted or not muted. So you have to look at it and say, "Oh, I'm muted." No, you
Say
were
that.
not
I'm not
muted.
looking
So
at my phone,
stop
man. I'm trying to have a
lying.
conversation.
So stop lying.
I'm not lying, dude. It was a mistake,
You,
and I'll apologize and
no,
concede. I
dude,
don't
there is no
care.
mistake. There is no mistake. You either were muted or you were not muted, and you can
And I
clearly
don't
see
know
that you
because I
were
wasn't
not
looking at my
muted.
phone.
That you stated that you
That
were
knowledge
muted.
wasn't available to me at the moment because I wasn't looking.
Dude, it's
Who cares?
literally
See
available
why
to
you're
everybody.
focusing on this? Who cares?
No, I'm
What's
calling
your
you
point?
out for
This
being
is what
full
he's
of
here to do.
shit.
To
So
tie
either
us
be
Tell the
up
honest
into
wanker
these sort
to
of
in the
shut
arguments.
conversation.
He's not here.
Either be honest in your conversation,
He's
in your
not here.
positions. Stop trying to obfuscate.
He's got nothing to say anyways.
Oh my God,
He's
Jarvis.
not
Nobody's
here
talking about
to
anything
debate
other than
science
his
or
own.
anything. He's just here to pick fights and cause trouble
Oh
and
my
to try so he
God.
can report people. That's all he's here
there's
for.
no
He's a little report
reporting.
fag.
You guys,
I'm
You are a
I'll
report
call in
fag.
again, dude. I'll
waiting
call
for
in
one of
You're
the
a report
arguments.
fag. There's no.
I'm
Fag.
still waiting
Okay.
for one of the
Fag.
arguments that T-Jump owned me on, supposedly.
All right.
Let me think. What were you guys debating again? What was the subject?
But he already knows he owned me, though. He knows he owned me.
Yeah. In real time, he did because I remember listening to it.
Just give me
So
an
in
example.
real time,
How
you
am
would get
I
owned.
supposed to know where he owned me if I think I did well in the debates, dude? Like,
Because
what-
you're delusional, dude. You
okay,
know
well then
this
point
already.
it out. You're the one making the
Because
claim.
I don't believe you even believe this
Point
stuff.
it
I don't even
out.
believe you, dude. I think you're fake.
Then
make
the point it
Point.
out, dude,
Okay,
so that I can learn and improve.
okay, ready? This is a question I want to
This
ask.
guy
you.
can't have a
You write me
conversation.
off.
Get rid of him.
Please,
Make
can
a
you shut
valid-
up, wanker? Can you shut up?
A valid
Listen,
Get rid of
Can you
him.
answer my
Hey,
question?
He's an
Smokey,
idiot.
Can
what's
you
the
finally
question?
answer
How did
my
he own
question?
you? How did he own you?
Yes.
He owned you in the department of literally not being all about your opinion. Everything you say is an opinion, dude.
This
Everything
guy's
you
smoking
say
ice, mate.
about how this
This guy's
works
smoking
is an
crystal
opinion, dude. No, you sound like you're on crystal meth. You just went on a
Dude,
freaking
are
tirade, you
you-
little chimp.
Do you smoke weed? Like, seriously, do you smoke a lot of weed?
Mate,
No, I don't smoke any.
Bring up a scientific point. Say
Okay.
where we were wrong. Say how we
You're
were
wrong
wrong.
about- you're wrong.
Yeah, you keep
You're
saying
wrong
that we're
about-
wrong
one thing.
in the
You're wrong
Wait a
broad
minute.
general
one thing.
terms, but you
You're wrong
don't
about
ever bring up
evolution.
anything
He
to
talks
say
very
how we're
generally.
wrong.
He talks
Listen.
very generally.
You
Apparently-
need
You know why
to
you're wrong
shut
about
up for
evolution?
5
debating-
seconds.
No, you know why
Bring
it's general?
up a point.
Because your
Bring up a
points are
point
so
to say
illogical.
where
You
we
don't
were
wanna
wrong.
get
Don't
detailed.
say we were just wrong.
He
Hold on.
inhales
You're an
atheism. That's what he inhales is
Oh my
atheism.
God.
He
You have
says that
idea.
I
You have
inhale-
He's
idea
an
what
idiot.
I am,
He's
dude. You have no
got
idea.
no
Okay.
brains,
All right.
mate.
All
That's
right.
why he's
Hey,
hiding like
guys. Everybody.
You guys
hey,
are so
this-
easy.
This is now.
Triggered,
This
dude.
is
So
now.
easy. It's so easy to get us
Guys, hey,
riled up.
everybody,
Do you
be
think
quiet.
that makes your mind work
Everybody
on
be
a
quiet.
high?
Look, everybody be quiet.
Stop, Jason.
Everybody be quiet.
So easy.
Okay.
Oh my God. Go on.
We-
Go
So
on,
easy. Oh,
Alex.
you're so proud of yourself that you can get people upset. What a little
Jason,
turd-bag. I'd be
Jason,
proud of
calm down,
myself if I
calm
could
down.
actually
Come
do a
on, Jay.
scientific
Hang on.
argument.
Jay.
Okay, hang on.
Good job,
Everybody-
You're an
Jay.
idiot,
You're
mate.
an alpha.
Everybody,
Good
we're
job,
going-
buddy. Good job,
Okay,
buddy.
look. We're gonna go to
Come on,
timed
Alpha.
responses. We're going to timed responses.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure. I'll make a point.
All right.
That'll be
Kills
the day.
both of us.
All right. Hang on. I am pulling up the clock. Hang on.
Wow, dude, I swear. Hey, Smokey, you are an articulate, smart motherfucker. I'll give you that. but
Appreciate
your arguments are so vacuous and so opinionated.
tell
That's
me
all they
They're
one
are.
so
that's
vacuous, Smokey, but he can't
dude.
tell you what
Wait a
part of
minute.
your
Hey, can you
argument
shut
is
up,
wrong.
Chimp?
God, you
Who
can't
is
even
this
can't-
tell
chimp
me
guy?
one of my arguments,
is this
Steven.
You're
Tell
not
me when
He's
it's
a
saying-
dick.
vacuous.
Who is this
He's
chimpanzee?
a retarded
honestly?
ape, mate.
Oh, mate.
He's like a retarded ape, mate.
Oh my God.
All right, everybody, quiet.
You're wrong, but I
Silence.
can't tell you why you're wrong.
Silence, everybody. Everybody, shut up. Okay.
What? Shut up to this guy.
Everybody, shut up, or you're going to be kicked out. Next person
You
that talks
can't
is
do
going to get kicked out until I tell you who has the next floor to time to speak. Okay. We're going to 1 minute timed responses. Crazy man Kevin is going to get the first 60 seconds. Nobody talk while the countdown timer is going until I say the time is up. Nobody talk. If you talk, I'm booting you from the stream.
Am I allowed to
Okay.
laugh?
Okay. Kevin, I'm about to start the clock. You are going to have 60 seconds when I say go. Okay.
Okay.
3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, thank you for shutting the chimp up. That dude is so fucking annoying. Okay, Smokey, hey, I gotta hand it to you, man. I'm just gonna give you guys props around the table. Let's just pretend it's round. The other guy just dropped off his high chair, but Smokey's still at the table. Maddox is still here, and Antangelo, or whatever his name is gone. Unfortunately, he seemed pretty classy. He was articulate, and I know he doesn't stray or obfuscate. He holds true to his position, is consistent in his arguments and everything I've seen. You guys like to derail and focus on other things. So my point is that most everything, I concede, it's not everything you say, is your opinion. And I can break that down for you if we had a conversation about it and I didn't get shut up and muted. But apparently there's some discontent there when I start speaking in these ways because it's too general. So let's get real, have real conversations. If you guys want to get more exact and detailed, we can as we go on. But that's my premise and that is my position. You guys are speaking from opinion.
Okay. Thank you.
Hang on. Let me reset the clock. Hang on. All right.
How long was that?
That was 58.9 seconds.
Yes. Oh, I didn't even look, dude.
All right, Smokey. 3, 2, 1, go.
Great. I don't think I actually need that long. That was interesting because all he did was not actually make an argument, just state his opinion about each one of us.
Right.
And he did so in a very general way without any actual specificity about any one of our arguments, and then goes on to say how our arguments are bad because they're just opinions to end up with the end of a culmination of nothing but a series of opinions. So it's just the fact that he can't even glean how incredibly contradictorily asinine he is to just get through even 60 seconds of a statement without making himself look like a complete moron. It's just staggering and really entertaining. I'm glad this is happening. Thanks for letting me in. I yield.
All right, Jungle. Oh man, Smokey, that was 43 seconds. All right, Jungle. You got 60 seconds, brother. 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, I don't think I need the whole 60 seconds, but it's the same old story of atheists. They can't take a position of their own. All they can do is attack our position, which is very clear all the time. And when they go to criticize us, they're not saying anything substantive. They're just saying, well, you did this, or you did that, or you look like this, or you look like that. You know, everything they say is useless. You know, atheism is useless. Their belief is useless. They have nothing to contribute, nothing valid to say. And our position holds because it's absolutely true, because we have all the evidence that supports that we have a creator, because that's what all the evidence of, power, information, and wisdom, understanding, everything shows that we have a creator of the universe.
Time.
I did take 60 seconds.
Yes, you did, Jungle.
Yeah, but Jungle, you have a more measured tone, so it's reasonable that you took 60 seconds. All right, Kevin, let me get the clock ready. All right, 3, 2, 1. Whenever you start talking.
Is it me?
Yep.
Oh,
Clock's
I
running.
can speak again. Okay, so you had me on mute the whole time. Okay. Sure, that wasn't very deep. I didn't really hear anything from Jungle that made any sense. You said that you have a stronger position than me and that I have no position. What position do I need to hold? The position I'm even countering is just simply one that's been put forth. I didn't wake up with the epiphany that there is no God, just like you didn't wake up with the epiphany that there was. You didn't come up with that concept on your own. You had to come up with it somewhere. You were convinced of something that makes you speak so on behalf of this Yahweh. And I'm saying, I don't believe you. Show me the evidence. And you don't have any. And it's all opinion. The end. That's my I yield.
All right. Smokey, you ready?
Yeah. Sure. Go ahead.
All right, go.
Yeah, see, I still haven't heard an argument. It's just basically, I attack all worldviews around me. I believe the belief vacuum, the moral nihilistic nightmare that I live in that justifies all the moral atrocities all throughout history, is somehow the better way, for no other reason than me wanting to hold blind faith in naturalistic processes that I can't possibly explain or understand, but I know that they're there. And I know that there is no God, even though I have no means of which to justify it. I only need to point at your perspectives and say that I don't accept them in order to justify mine, without providing any actual justification for my position. It's just sophistry and idiocy. I yield.
Yeah, if you want evidence of God, you don't need to look any farther than the existence of powers, because every power comes from a greater power. No power can make itself. No power can order itself. And every power is dependent on another power. So that everything ultimately has to come from a power that's independent and not dependent on anything else, which is God, which is the definition of God. All-knowing, all-powerful, eternal, maker of the fabric of time and space by the formation of matter, which dilates time and distance. Good enough.
45 seconds, Jungle. You're speeding up, man. All right, Kevin, the floor is yours.
Okay, hey, thanks. Jungle again, just more. You guys want to talk about sophistry? I mean, that's cool that you threw down a bunch of words, and then you proceeded to attempt to define them in some rambling general sense, which I'm quite impressed with, but I'm still not sold. So again, opinions, claims with no evidence, no substance, vacuous, essentially. So getting back to whatever Smokey said earlier about the way I'm operating, dude, you know where I'm coming from. I think it's cool that you're able to use some semblance of like a philosophical position when you speak. But again, you're still coming from the way you've interpreted data. And that's your opinion. You don't have anything to verify that you're correct. Therefore, I'm just as correct as you are. And I yield the rest.
Yeah, I don't think.
All right, Smokey, I'm going to make an assertion here, Smokey.
Go ahead.
Let me get this clock going. Okay, so Kevin, what are some of the fundamental requirements for life to exist? So the question I would pose to you directly is, are we ultimately dependent on prescriptive information that it must be in place in order for biological function to operate? If so, what is or any other context in which prescriptive information has been derived without the requirement of an intelligent agent to exist prior to its inception?
Okay, am I on now?
Yep.
Okay, well, first off, I take note with your use of prescriptive. I don't necessarily agree with that as a foundational point. If you want to start from there, you could show me how that actually makes sense, because I think that ties into the philosophy of the theory of evolution as well, because no one's making a claim about how it all started, right? They're just saying this is a description of what's unfolded since it began. So I think you're either trying to trick me into saying something that I don't really have to answer, or you're doing it in a way that's just kind of ignorant and you don't know what you're talking about, or there's something that neither of us are meeting on, and I would like to know what you mean so I understand what you're saying. There, I'll yield the rest.
Okay, so don't think I actually used the word evolution at all. I was not referring to evolution at all. So apparently you were not listening to the words that came out of my mouth. I am speaking specifically about root fundamental requirements for life to exist that are accepted. Now, prescriptive information, I'm not talking about from a philosophical perspective. I'm talking about from an information theory perspective, in which formal information is derived by prescriptive information and descriptive information. Prescriptive, which is the instruction set that has a defined outcome based on process. And this is exactly what is the root requirement and recognizes root requirement for biological systems. So, if in no other context, the prescriptive information has been derived without an intelligent agent that we observe, how did said prescriptive information, which enables life to exist, come into existence without an intelligent agent existing prior to it?
Okay, so as far as that goes, and as far as you getting detailed as to where we started this, I'm just going with your notion, right? That there is prescriptive information contained in the whatever you're. I don't even know how far you're going back, right? So if you're going back to the first living cell, the first protein, the first I don't know what word of God. I don't even know where you're starting. So I'll just go with you on this and say there's prescriptive information contained in biological life when the earth started and started producing life, when it started producing life. And I'll say, I don't know. I don't know where there's an example of something without an intelligence behind it. But I don't think that is it either. There isn't one. And you haven't shown that there is. So it's an assumptive question.
No, you said that life just started being produced. The entire point that's being made is that you said the Earth, just their life just started, being produced, and it's like, no, the point that's being made is that in order for that life to exist, there is formal prescriptive information as a requirement. This is recognized. There's literally papers on this, which I can pull up if you don't believe me, from biosemiotic researchers and evolutionary biologists and origin of life researchers that all state that this is the ultimate conundrum when it comes to how does life exist, is that this is ultimately a requirement that you cannot avoid. And so again, I ask you, in which context, in any other scenario, is it rational to conclude that an intelligent agent is not required prior to the inception of prescriptive information in any other context?
I don't know. I don't know.
Can I draw a bow on this real quick? Kevin, just to make it clear for you on our perspective, we find the claim of naturalistic origin of life to be extraordinary, and we require extraordinary evidence to believe it.
Oh, okay. So do you think it's less Wait, so you claim that the naturalistic process, as defined by someone who says, I'm a naturalist and I only define things in a materialistic sense, or is that just is that in the way they do so? What are the two different frames of how you believe in naturalism? Dillahunty will actually differentiate between these two. What is that again? Theoretically?
Well, it's actually, see, I know you would want to do what Dillahunty would want to do.
No. I don't even care, dude.
I'll make it clear for you.
Is. That's
but I'm not going to let you play a Dillahunty game with it.
Well,
but
I don't need to play a Dillahunty game.
Well,
I just want to know what the differentiation is.
It's either, the differentiation is intelligence or no intelligence.
No, that's not it. No. Yeah. The way that you implement naturalism. Okay.
It's either naturalistic processes, as in unguided, or it's guided by an intelligent agent. Those are the only two options.
That's not a true dichotomy. That's not exactly how.
What's the other option then?
That's not even what I'm talking about. I'm talking about with naturalism, in just precisely naturalism as it functions as a human being. I take on that position, right? I say, yeah.
What's the other
I believe in naturalism. Hold on. I believe in naturalism, but I do so.
Was there an intelligence or a no intelligence?
Oh, God, no, that's not what I'm talking about. I
don't care what you're talking about. You're trying to dodge. I'm asking a very simple question. Was there intelligence or no intelligence?
For what? The very
For the
beginnings of
origin
life?
of life.
I don't know.
Okay. So you don't get to say no intelligence.
No, I get to say no.
You get to
Jesus,
say,
dude.
I don't
I get to say
know.
no Jesus. How does this have anything to do with
We're
Yahweh?
not talking about Jesus. We're talking about beginning of life, which you
Oh,
don't
we're
have
just
an
talking
answer
about the beginnings
for.
of life.
No,
But
we
you're
can get-
assuming
we can
So
get
my
to
opinion about
Jesus.
naturalistic, non-guided mechanisms in order to be the origin of life. Now, you want to try and play games with the word naturalism. I don't care. It's either guided or unguided. And if you want to say it's guided naturalistically or guided unnaturalistic, I don't care. It's still not part of my argument. My question to you is very simple as to whether it was, based upon your opinion of the gathering of evidence, requirement of an intelligent agent for the origin of life, or you have sufficient evidence to say, no, I believe that it could have arisen without an intelligent agent, and this is my evidence to that case. So you can take
I don't
one
agree with
position
you.
or the other.
No, I don't agree with you. I don't agree
Okay.
that those are the
Well,
two
that's
options.
unfortunate. You're
So show us
philosophically
the
incoherent.
mechanism.
Then you're
Show us
philosophically
the
incoherent.
mechanism.
It's not philosophically incoherent.
Show us the naturalistic mechanism for writing instruction that's not there.
Jargon, what are you talking about? What
You
are
don't
even
know,
talking
do you?
about?
You already said you
don't know
know.
either. What are you
Yes,
even
I do.
rambling about, bro?
We kind of
What are
do.
you-
The point is, we kind of do because we
No,
know
you
that.
don't.
Here's the argument that
don't
you're not
know.
following, Kevin. Here's
You're
the argument.
Gnostic about this. You
Can you
know
let me follow?
for certain.
Because here's the argument you're not actually following that we keep making. We make it time and time again, like on our channels, like all
Okay,
over
what?
the
What is
place.
it?
Okay, it's that the
Yahweh.
requirements for the beginning of life
Spoke it.
do not fit any potential scientific hypothesis or origin of life paradigm whatsoever. And we've been through this with Tony many, many times, and we even had an interview with James Tour to discuss this for 20 minutes in detail. That what you're claiming is to have certainty in is basically a lack of knowledge altogether. So you're
Wait, what
having
do I have
faith
certainty
in it.
I have never used the term certain about anything
the
we've
origin
spoken.
of life had naturalistic non-guided mechanisms.
I didn't say that.
But you imply it
You
by
are.
saying there
You're
is no
saying
God. When
No,
you
you're
say there
using
is
that
no
terminology.
God, and you
No, I'm
say
not.
that origin of
No, I'm
life
not. I
could have
didn't say that.
happened
There could
without
be
a
10
God,
gods. There could be 10 gods, dude.
then you're not an atheist.
Are you atheistic?
No, not anymore.
Okay, hold on a second. If I give you this, because you know this is just the most cliche thing to retort with, right? Is you're not an atheist? Do you believe in Thor? Do you believe in Vishnu? And you say no, well then you're an atheist too,
Actually,
except for the one God.
Well,
right?
let me rephrase, because I actually believe that those deities could have some principal spiritual influential existence. I'm not the type to say that all of these presences that manifest particularly in cultural dynamics are just manifested evolutionary by the minds of the people. I think there may potentially be spiritual pressures, and that actually is coherent.
That's a fair position.
That's coherent with my book. So I don't have an issue with that at all.
And
okay, that's fine.
Where did they get their power from? Where did the power come from?
The more powerful one.
Well, and
like
what I would note, just to follow up on that,
pure logic, dude.
Just to follow up on that,
more powerful thing.
Is that all the primary deities of the other religions seems to be subsidiary to nature itself. So what you have is a deficiency in the comparison of the God claims of being those that are actually a component of nature or inside nature, and only one of which that claims to be actually outside
of nature. Hey, I'll give it to you, man. Like I've said, and I've always maintained my position and consistency on this. You're an articulate, intelligent motherfucker. I'm just crazily baffled at why you're using it in this domain. But
because it made the most sense to me, bro.
And that's cool. No, I like it. You're convicted. So, that's cool. Some of your tactics are interesting. It is annoying. I see why people get angry with you.
Dude, I'm the first one to fess up the fact that I'm a dick, and I don't shy from it, man.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
It's just, I'm not the type to also just shy away from people trying to walk all over me or my brothers or deal dishonestly. I'm going to put people in their place. You try to cross me, you might get cut. That's just how it is.
Mess with a bull,
There you go, bro.
Yeah. All right.
So Kevin, have you ever actually looked into the fundamental requirements for your own existence?
No, not in any intense manner on my own accord without having to be generalized. I don't read books specifically on this stuff. No.
Okay. So you think that we are somehow defending and adopting positions without evidence when you yourself have not actually gone and looked at the potential evidence for or against?
No, Not at all. As a matter of fact, I think that some of your claims are completely vacuous and made up opinions that you like to
such
play.
as
Hold on.
such as
specific. Be
Hold on.
specific.
Can I please
Be
just
specific.
speak?
Give an
Jargon,
example.
First off, Jargon, I'm not actually speaking to you.
Yeah, well,
So-
just don't say
Yeah,
something
no, I can
without
say, dude,
basing it. You're saying
why? You
stuff
guys
you
do
have
it all the
no
time. You guys
basis. Be
ramble. You just
specific as to what you're
ramble, Jargon.
talking
Come on.
about. You said
Right,
you
you're doing
made
it
a
now.
claim.
You're
Now
doing
be
it now.
specific. Be specific.
Are you done?
Are you done?
No, I was just starting.
You're
Can I
starting
speak
to
now,
speak
or
nonsense. You're starting to
keep
speak
going?
nonsense
Just keep
because you
talking.
have nothing valid to say, nothing substantial to say,
Hmm.
nothing of substance to say. You proved that over and
Dude,
over
your
and
name
over
is
again.
Jargon.
How long
Your
have you
name
been
is
in here? You
Jargon.
haven't stated a specific
Yeah.
thing, specific.
all right, Jungle.
valid thing.
Let's give him a chance. Go ahead.
Okay.
State a position about what I have said that is vacuous.
So as far as the origins of life are concerned, let's just call it origins, right? Not the beginning of life after it started. So that's all evolution is describing. I don't bring up evolution when we talk about Yahweh because I don't think we need to. I don't think that's even a valid point. There's nothing to talk about there. I could believe in different
Get
things.
to the
Hold on.
point of
The
a
point I'm
vacuous
getting to
position
is
that I have taken.
you guys mix up your realms. You're talking about Yahweh, who cares about dictates.
You're a troll.
Right?
Dude,
Oh my God,
what?
Jargon.
Dude,
What the fuck? Are you serious, bro? For one moment? I've listened.
okay, Kevin, you have literally just danced again.
Focus,
So,
concentrate.
You have taken the position that in regards to origin of life and how we exist, that the positions that I take are vacuous. Which ones specifically are vacuous? I do not want to hear a bunch of fluff where you don't actually answer the position that you're taking. What position have I taken regarding origin of life that is vacuous? Go ahead.
That Yahweh breathed it into existence. Or
I have
spoke
never
it into
talked about
existence.
said Yahweh has breathed into
Oh,
existence.
you don't believe that?
I am talking about the requirements for life.
I haven't argued that point at all. I have never disagreed with you. I told you that. I said I don't know.
You
Kevin,
said
just to backtrack, just to interject real quick, just because again talking over each other a little bit, Kevin. The point is that I think the LPP is trying to say he's never actually worked that as an argument. That like we don't like enter into arguments with atheists saying Yahweh breathed it into existence. We win. You know,
of course
like, this
you
is
don't
not,
say that.
Yeah, this is, but that's kind of what it seemed like you were.
Because you would just right, but I've
Okay.
listened to enough of what you do say, and the cumulative argument that you're making.
Dude, you obviously have not listened to a word that I have said. Then
I have listened to so many. I listen
no,
to
you
people
because
get pissed off
no,
at you
because
guys
my
and say,
conclusions
"Fuck
are
you" to
never
you
about
in
that.
debates. I listen to people
No,
literally tell you to fuck off.
Dude,
I
what is my
literally
fun?
listen to people tell you to fuck off. So I'm
Okay, dude, you're literally a fucking idiot if you think that is my position. I reached the conclusion that an intelligent agent is required for my existence based on the requirements for the body in which my consciousness is currently residing to exist requires an intelligent agent in order for it to exist. That is the foundation of the arguments that I make. How you can come to any other conclusion than that if you've actually paid attention to any of my arguments, where I literally in PowerPoints make outlined logical deductions and positions, specifically in the context not of Yahweh, of the intelligent agent being required, to come to the conclusion that that's somehow the position that I'm taking in my debates, in my videos, and in my live streams, means you have not actually listened, or you have the inability to comprehend them because you are suffering from a significant case of atheist fantasyland projection complex, which I originally came up with as a humorous joke, but you and many others are actually turning into a real thing. Now, if you want to talk again, actually make a legitimate position about a position that I have taken regarding the requirements for life to exist.
So he's a real joke. And
okay, am I off mute now, Maddox?
Yep.
Okay. So I find it interesting again that you like to frame that and mute people, but I'll even stop complaining about it because it doesn't.
Because you literally keep lying.
Right. Okay. So again, I told you, I don't care what your position is on the beginning of life and what it takes to make that happen. Okay.
Okay. So you don't think how we exist is relevant to our existence?
Okay. Can I?
No. Answer that question. You do not.
You really
do you not know? Answer the question.
Me, which is hilarious. Because
that's not a straw man. That's a direct question, dude. In this whole conversation, and if you don't answer this question, I'm done with you because this is a waste of time. Do you personally not think that how we came into existence has any relevance to how we came into existence? Go ahead.
But your particular position and the information stream that you are so graciously giving all of us, I don't know if you're right or wrong about that. That's not what my commentary nor
do you think it is relevant to the overall conversation of how we exist?
I'll get back to you with stronger arguments against exactly what your positions are, because obviously you don't want to have real conversation. So I'm game to stay on the phone with you guys. And Smokey knows where I'm coming from. He knows what I'm doing here. This is bullshit. Jargon is just whatever, dude. Go back to your
what do I
dude.
know? What do you think I know? All I've seen you come in here, dude, and is
I'm
provide
done
zero
with this
arguments
dumbass.
but blanket
I've had
assertions.
enough of this guy. He's out.
Like he just sits there and says, "You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. You got owned." Okay, tell us where. I don't have to do that. Everywhere. You're wrong everywhere.
That dude has never. That guy didn't answer a single question.
He was trolling from the very beginning. He was trolling.
Well, and the few times he did take a position, I just completely embarrassed him for just the nonsensical, low-thinking garbage that it was. So, I mean, it's all good, man. I think we got our use out of him.
Yeah.
Wow. That guy is one of the biggest dumbasses I've ever interacted with.
Yeah, no.
In my entire life.
Yeah, he's pretty bad.
Not just YouTube, like in my entire life. This guy's one of the biggest dumbasses.
Well, you know, I knew the moment he came into my comments to try and start saying T-Jump owned me, I knew it was going to be a special type of stupid. So I was ready for this.
Oh, we're not expecting him to be an idiot, but it's like you come in and make these kinds of like complete runaround assertions, like pseudo assertions, and like sidestep and all this kind of stuff, and then it's like, no, you're the guys that being unreasonable. You won't answer a direct question.
I dude, 3 times, even on your stream, I think was the 3rd time I asked him, I said, tell me just one argument where I got owned. Like clearly, like you were watching the debates. He claims to watch the debates all the time. He says that's what he said in the comments. Like I watch the debates all the time, and that I'm a joke, and that T-Jump owned me. Is okay. One example, just one. Just give me one. Well, one argument that T-Jump owned, that quote-unquote owned me, because I'd like to know, because I thought I did pretty darn good. I thought T-Jump looked like a complete and utter clown. So if you saw something I didn't, tell me. Did I ever get an answer to that question?
No.
No.
Okay, over under audience. There is not a chance that dude is 46 years old.
Oh, there's 0 chance. No. Well, in my stream, he said he was 23. I think that's more likely.
Yeah. Total joke.
Well, he came into my stream, Maddox, you saw, saying that he had never interacted with anything Christian before until you and me.
I know. That was hilarious. Yeah.
That was quite a way to decide to open, I think.
Well, the thing that's was cracking me up is he's obviously one of those people that operates from the perspective that, oh, these guys believe in God, they must therefore be dumb.
Right.
They're not going to pick up on my BS. I mean, it's like, yeah, dude. I never have been on a different side of this equation. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I'm glad he came to both your stream and mine. I'll give him credit for that. He was good entertainment.
True. It was
fun watching you deal with him and then only realize to bring me in when you realized it was going downhill. I appreciate that.
I didn't even know you were in the back of stage.
You can say that. It's okay. I forgive you.
It's the same old.
It's funny because I said it in my stream. I'll bet you Maddox doesn't let me in unless it starts to go sour.
No, actually, I didn't see it. I didn't see you.
It's all right.
It's
I'm
entertaining.
just giving you a hard time.
It's entertaining and it's useful but it's the same old arguments, pathetic arguments from an atheist, quote unquote atheist.
Yeah.
Well, you know what was kind of funny, and I think at this point we'll give him about 30 more seconds, and then that guy never existed. The standard talking points that were coming out of his mouth of just insert. Like, it's like, dude, did you like go Google the top 10 atheist arguments from 2002 and just like repeat like really, really? Oh, that's right. I was like, at some points I was almost predicting the words that were coming out of his mouth. Like, oh, there it is, standard talking point. Yeah.
Yep. No, he was an impressively type of stupid. He must listen to Dillahunty. I mean, no doubt about it. Like, he's got to be a Dillahunty fan.
Standard lack of a position.
Chris Keith, 23. He just doubled his age in a failed attempt to double his IQ, which ironically is at 23 to 46.
Chris is on point. Oh, speed of meth pudding is in the chat.
Wow.
Oh wow. Lord Voldemort just
Lord Voldemort.
Yeah, Lord Voldemort, also known as Speed of Pudding, also known as Lord of Pudding.
Pudding brain.
Lord of Pudding.
Pudding brain.
No.
Yeah, I'd say it was interesting tonight. Back to what this stream was originally, this after show was originally about, of the Neanderthal debate over on Creation Myths, Dr. Dan.
Oh yeah, how'd it go, by the way?
It was very interesting. It was interesting. It was kind of bizarre, to be honest. Like, let's just say that probably, I'd say halfway in, it started to get pretty heated.
Oh, did it?
And oh yeah, and the end, by the end closing statements, it was pretty snarky.
Interesting. Now I want to go watch it.
But one of the interesting parts of it was, and SFT and I kind of talked about this at the beginning of this stream, was it really began to embody like the paradigm differences. Hey, we're looking at the evidence. Okay, this is the argument I'm making based on the top-down view. This is the argument you're making based on the bottom-up view. That kind of thing. And it's like you literally reached the polar opposite conclusion looking at the data from the two different perspectives. And the irony is that obviously there's assumptions on both sides, right? The top-down assumption and the bottom-up assumption. But the bottom-up assumption requires it all to happen undirected process. It's like, again, which one's the more rational conclusion?
Exactly.
But beyond that here's what I'm arguing would be the cause and effect for SFT. Here's what the data shows, which directly fits my model. And here's the reasons that it doesn't fit yours. And then it was like those arguments were just completely and utterly dismissed by Cardinale. I mean, just like acted like they had zero relevance. I mean, he literally got to the point of saying, doesn't matter. You're saying that it's happened in 6,000 years. Therefore, your point doesn't matter. It's like, wait a minute. So you're not dismissing the evidence that's being presented. Your only argument is that you're not even going to address it because you claim it doesn't fit into the timeline that's being presented. But you're not discounting that the evidence is there, which being the key word, right? Of like, or the key concept there. I'm like, let's think about this for just a second. Like, who is being full of BS right now?
Mm-hmm.
Very
Speaking of BS, I had an email chain with Rib.
Oh, about what?
A bitch fit.
Oh man.
You want me to read it?
Please do.
Okay. It's actually pretty good. I'll read my.
I'm seriously considering telling him let's debate on Bernie.
Well, that's what he was trying to do. He's trying to reach out to me to challenge me to a debate. Oh, I didn't delete it, did I? God, no, I didn't. I know I didn't. It's in here.
On He wants to debate you on Bernie?
He wanted to debate me. I don't know what it was. Something freaking stupid. My God, I have to find it. audio, Tony, Michael. I think this is.
Are you in Gmail? Just search.
Well, dude, I'm in Gmail, but I'm like, I can't
Well,
find
there's a
it.
search. There's a search bar.
I know
at the
there's a
top.
search bar.
I mean, just type in "religion is BS" at Gmail.
Is that it? Oh, there it is. All right, let's see here. Debate. Is that it? Yep, this is it. Okay, here we go. Yep, this is it. All right. Do you want me to put it on the screen or what?
Sure.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to show my email. I guess that doesn't matter. No sensitive info there. Okay, wait. This is... Yeah. Okay, hold on. All right, here we go. Let me get to screen share. Oh, I don't need audio. Okay.
Yes, Outcast American. I would love to debate him on Bernie Sanders.
Right? So he sent me an email, just a quick, would you like to do a debate type thing? And or a conversation or something on his show or some freaking thing. And I said, I would have done this with you. You could have done one of two things after our debate. You could have reassessed and conceded on some of your disgusting contradictory perspectives, or you could troll me and try to act like I didn't completely annihilate your shallow, low-thinking, bigoted perspectives. Well, you decided to troll me, and troll me in live debates on MDD. If you wanted a dialogue, you should have gone about it differently. And he says, asking you questions in a live debate is trolling now. All right, Darth Dawkins.
If there's anything that's going to trigger, if you ever want to trigger Smokey, compare him to Darth Dawkins.
There you go. Yeah, because it clearly, I actually think it's hilarious. It's funny. They don't even realize, they don't even argue like the same type of apologetics, but whatever. You called me a terrible person last night and I'm trolling. Yeah, I did. And by the way, he's referring to the fact that after my debate with Jackson Wheat, which, by the way, nothing negative happened the whole time. I thought it was a great conversation, got to the end, and we basically kind of almost conceded each other's points in a roundabout
Dude, I don't
way.
know what the heck you did in that debate, but by the end, Jackson Wheat was like defending you against trolls in the audience.
Right?
I think, here's what I think's going on, man. So I'm pretty sure that he has a man-boy relationship with RJ Downard. I think RJ is getting kind of old, and he may be looking for a new replacement figure. And he might have been seeing you in that role, my friend.
Oh, God. Yeah, that's great, Maddox.
Go ahead, man.
Lovely. So anyway, this is that point that night. So Rib, after our conversation, which was pleasant, and you're right, basically Jackson was defending me to the trolls like it was a pleasant conversation and no issues there. And even like when I got that quiz on evolutionary terms, they even pretty much gave me a thumbs up, like, yeah, good job, it works, so like it was actually really positive. But Rib in the chat is like, why do you just call people horrible garbage all the time and stuff when you debate? And I look at Jackson, I'm like, did we have a bad time? And he's like, no. I mean, I thought it was actually like a really good debate. And so I turned around to the chat and I said, well, there you go. You are just stupid trash. You get treated by like stupid trash because you are stupid trash. When someone that's decent and actually argues reasonably and respectfully and honestly, they get treated that way. So that was my point to him, but he couldn't get it. So it says, please, you know absolutely nothing about me other than what he's displayed, of course, in the debates. And the fact you think you can accurately comment on my character is beyond insanity. I challenge you to a debate so you could uphold. There it is again. How many times do we hear 1 Peter 3:15? It's got to be every day, isn't it, Maddox?
There was one of their. It's
got to be at least a few times a week.
Well, he's just trying to copy Michael, the Canadian atheist.
Yeah. But I guess you confirmed what I already knew. You're nothing but a short of a coward. Ooh. Okay, well, I decided to let it rip here then. I said, you displayed your character and you got called out on it. You dig in and double down. You deserve being exposed for the contradictory, stupid trash you are. When you show you are a trash person, and then I pointed point out how you are a trash person. Then you dig deeper, giving extra validation. You are a trash person. Trying to put me on a spot on my debate. Yes, Rip, you are truly petty, inferior specimen of manhood. It is even in your acronym of your name. You are bullshit, and your religion is bullshit. The problem is you don't have any shame. You think you can be whatever trash you want, and you are somehow entitled to it, while we are mean people for pointing it out. Respect is earned. You aren't entitled to my respect. You stupid degenerates love to cherry pick those verses to try and guilt us into acting a certain way so you dumpster roach scum people can have a chance to win an argument and walk all over us. You are a vile, disgusting, trash-mouthed idiot clown who can't even see when you devolve the conversation, use vulgarity, then have the nerve to condescend to your opponents for daring to fight back. This is all what you have displayed to me, Rib. Do I need to know everything about you in order to notice that what you have shown is stupid, disgusting, and contradictory? You still can't get it even now. Can't see how petty you were last night, calling me out for insults in a debate where I made no insults. Yeah, you get called out in the stream where you fail masterfully to call me out. As for your claims about my God and his commands on me, we have already established you have an ignorant, shallow-minded view of pretty much everything, including my book. So forgive me if I tell you to take your translation of your expectation of my behavior and put it right back up in the place where the rest of your thoughts clearly come from. Acts 13, 9, and 10. Good thing I don't need weird little European fairies to tell me what my book says. I get to refer to actual smart people. Feel free to keep believing your stupid things so you can waste your soul and any potential value. My God is indeed merciful and patient and loving, but the thing you can't get through that thick skull is that he's also righteous, and you are a complete abomination to anything actually good. And to make it worse, you are totally prideful in your ignorance. Rib, you are one of the dumbest, most unsophisticated atheists I have ever met, and you get called out for it. I don't need your whole character profile to know what you have shown me is full-on trash. Now, ever so kindly, piss off.
Well, that was a rather direct response, shall we say?
Sometimes it's required. Sometimes it's required, gentlemen.
Yeah. But, well,
you know, he just really pushed. You know what, dude? The email chains, the debates, the challenges, the condescension, the pride, everything that led up to that debate. I've got zero patience left for this weird little twink, dude. I'm just over it.
He is a character. There's no doubt about that. Well, I tell you the thing that got me more than anything from him was...
He's going to keep trolling me. He's going to keep trolling my debates. I know he will.
Oh, yeah, he will, for sure. In the third one, when he was going on about becoming a social worker, like, do you remember that? And he said he was in school to become a social worker.
And then you're talking about the rape gangs and the grooming gangs. I love that part. That was awesome.
Well, what I find just amazing, and it's part of the reason, like, I'm actually seriously considering emailing him and being like, yeah, dude, let's debate Bernie and socialism, because it's like he is obviously well, I'll put it this way. I think if anybody who supports Bernie, there's only I'd say three potential reasons you could. Either one, you're a freaking commie, therefore you support Bernie. You're a completely ignorant moron when it comes to geopolitical reality and history, or you are a pawn and are being just completely manipulated. I mean, there's like no other way around it. Like,
yep.
Or all three.
Or a combination of all three.
Yep.
And none of which obviously are, strong indicators of being very intelligent.
The incoherency of the worldview and then the absolute failure and cowardice to defend it just blows my mind.
Well, what gets me is the one of the dude that tried to defend it. I'm like, okay, so you're actually putting together arguments that if you actually, like, did you research your argument? Or did you just, like, copy and paste talking points?
Right.
Because at this point, the evidence is beyond doubt. It does not work. Like, beyond doubt, and it just blows my mind. It's just so indicative of the level of ignorance and the rewrite of history and the brainwashing that's been successfully implemented in modern Western education.
You know, up until the third debate, Rib and Michael, neither of them said anything to me, okay, other than just the stupid email chains about the debate. The debate happens, nonstop trolling. Nonstop trolling.
Yeah, they're I haven't seen much of Michael. I've seen much of Rib. I haven't seen much of Michael. Is Michael talking trash?
I've seen Michael on Facebook talking trash about the debate, but
okay. Yeah, they're well, Michael is obviously an angry little man.
Basement's comment still kills me. Shiver me timbers. Redbeard is matey of gone grounds.
That was an epic basement dweller statement for sure. That was a great one.
You know what? From now on, it's funny because when I go into the comments, I actually look for basement dweller now, like to see what he said.
Dude, Basement is the king of the one-line zinger.
He is. He is the king of comments, period, bro.
Basement,
he is like...
If stand-up comedy ever makes a return, because who knows how long it'll be until like actually going to a comedy club is going to be normal again. But you seriously need to start like aggregating all of your one-line zingers and go do an open mic night. I tell you what, I've seriously been thinking about doing, and I've done this one other time, but I've seriously been contemplating like putting together some stand-up comedy sets specifically about atheists.
Oh, it would be fun, bro.
I mean,
we had nothing. We had no end of content, man.
Exactly. I mean, the never-ending supply of just like you actually. I mean, Kevin tonight. I mean, I bet we could go back and watch this between your stream and mine, and like you could probably put together comedy for like the next 6 months.
Oh, freaking A, bro. Absolutely.
So, folks, you will just not believe what this guy said. He said he was an agnostic atheist. And then when we asked him what that meant, he didn't know what it meant to be an agnostic atheist. I mean, can you believe that? The agnostic atheist didn't know what he believed. Wow. But then he was telling me that I was dumb for believing something. I mean, that's what we're dealing with here. I mean, it's like, kid... I've never heard that one. Like, I'm an agnostic atheist. I've heard either like you aren't the. Correct me if I'm wrong on this.
Here's the deal.
Aren't the atheists usually arguing that there needs to be a delineation between agnostic and atheist?
It all depends. And you know what? It depends if they're activists or not. Like Dillahunty. Dillahunty's an activist, and if you're an agnostic, he wants you to claim to be an atheist so that he can fudge the numbers on the number of atheists out there and turn it into some sort of activism thing. Then you have honest people. Honest agnostics like Steve McRae, who thinks it's very important to draw the philosophical distinction so people understand what they're arguing. So there's kind of a bit of it on both sides of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Brady says Bernie isn't a communist. He ran for president to become a multimillionaire with vacation homes. Then he said, "I'm out. Take it, Hillary. Take it, Biden." Well, you know what's interesting? So Bernie's wife was the head of some university up in New Hampshire. She is currently either has been or is facing indictment because of a whole boatload of money that magically disappeared from the university, and the university is now closed. This was like a year and a half ago, I think, maybe 2 years ago. No, heck, I might learn it. It might be 3 years ago now. But yeah, I'm like, wait a minute. So, to the point that Brady was making about like vacation homes and stuff, it's like, wait a minute. So, she's been funneling money through a university she's the president of.
Wow.
Interesting. In their state, of which he is a senator. That doesn't seem remotely corrupt.
Yeah.
At all.
Oh,
but, you know,
sorry. No, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say the sidebar. Did you know that, and this is happening across the board, just using Biden as an example, did you know that his brother son, a lot of people don't know his sons, but his brothers, cousins, all those kind of folks in his family have been getting government contracts out the yin yang for the last 30 years.
Wow.
Like millions of dollars a year in government contracts.
Wow.
Just to, like, all of his family members. Like, everybody's getting it. And he's been making all this claim like, I'm broke, y'all. I'm just a normal guy. It's like, yeah, as literally everybody in your family is getting stupidly wealthy. Yeah, so the money is not technically in your name. You're not living any of the benefits. Yeah, I'm going to call BS on that one, bro.
Right.
Like, that's a straight up family little dynasty. You're the front man. I mean, it'd be like saying that the Don, who isn't actually out doing all the illegal work, is not benefiting from all the stuff that his minions are doing. Like, let's get real.
By the way, I have an announcement to make.
Oh,
Now-
okay. Good.
Now, Maddox, you've been bragging about having more subs than me. So
Oh.
certainly I have to admit, and I have to give you credit, you have won. You have won
Dude,
so
I have
far.
okay. Hang on.
The
I have
sub
not
wars.
been bragging. I have not been bragging. I have made it a point not to be bragging.
Okay.
I have responded to your statements about something. I have not been rubbing it in anybody's face. Now go ahead.
Okay. Well, I'll give it to you because yes, you're successful. You have more subs than me, and you've managed to win. But I think there's something I've won. I think I've won the Triggering Atheist Award. Now, and I'm going to present my case for having won because I think I've had something happen to me that has not happened to you yet. Even though
Okay.
you've done this a little bit longer than me, go ahead and let me share my screen there.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, Smokey Saint officially has his first actual troll account. As in, someone went ahead and created an email and a separate account,
Where?
stole my avatar, uploaded it, created a name, and came to my channel just to troll me with it. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, Smokey has arrived. It has happened. Someone has been triggered so bad that they put this much effort into coming and attempting to troll me. Maddox, I think I'm ahead of you on this one, brother.
Hang on. Is it Smoky Taint?
Sticky taint.
Sticky Taint.
Stinky. No,
Stinky.
Stinky taint. Stinky taint. Sorry.
Oh man.
That's a real thing.
That's good.
Okay, over under on that being, well, I don't know. Okay, so sidebar, has anything continued between you and the Rage after?
No.
Okay.
No. We actually did have a mild, just quick little back and forth in email, but super pleasant. Maybe setting up a private Discord chat or something, but no. Just basically even keel. I went into his stream. I didn't troll him. I trolled his chat a little bit because they were just being, trash bags like they typically are. But no, I mean, he was in there talking with CJ. They were having a little conversation. I was basically disagreeing with both of them on a lot anyway, so I just took out.
Stinky Taint.
Apparently CJ is not a Trump fan, so they got that going for each other on that.
It was interesting to me. It was probably just like 2014, maybe 2013, 2014, somewhere in there. There was a presentation at the United States Senate from, I forget the exact word. It was like a global organization of economists, and they were presenting the evidence. Basically, okay, after a century, it is now proven beyond doubt that Keynesian economics is a failure and does not work. I watched it on C-SPAN. It was fascinating. It was like a 2-hour presentation of like why this is a bad idea and the policy positions. Here's all the countries it's failed in, example after example. Okay, and then not long after, senators, to which I watched on C-SPAN, had this evidence presented to them, had press conferences pushing policy positions that literally were dependent upon Keynesian economics. And then you fast forward to now, exact same stupidity is happening.
Yep.
Right? And I'm
Total
like,
cycle, bro.
Okay, so I know beyond all doubt because I personally watched this presentation from the guys who are considered, the pinnacle experts in economics on the globe, right? Like, here is why this is a really bad idea. Here is why it has failed. Here's all the countries it's failed in. This is why it's a bad idea. We need to stop adopting this as like government policy. And they're still pushing it. And now they're doubling down on it. It's like, either you people are idiots, which would not surprise me because I'm pretty sure a significant portion of them are every bit as brain dead as Joe Biden is.
Agreed.
I mean, dude, have you watched the literal timeouts, mental timeouts that Nancy Pelosi has in press conferences?
Oh, God. Probably.
Dude, it's like, I've seen tons of them, dude. Like, there's more than a few where she literally zones out in the middle of a live press conference for like 20, 30 seconds. Doesn't, and just like staring.
Yeah.
And then it's like she turns back on. And I'm like, how is this not news that the Speaker of the House, third in line to the presidency, goes into mental timeouts in live press conferences and has been doing this for years now? Like, does this not freak anybody out?
Yeah.
I mean, arguably one of the most powerful women on the planet is like going into mental checkout mode.
Yeah.
I mean, was she 80? Almost. I think she's either almost 80 or like
we
right
have
at 80.
all these just god awful degenerate dinosaurs we can't get rid of no matter what. Term limits, for God's sakes. Can we get term limits already?
Oh yeah. See, how old is that woman? She is 80 exactly.
For people like that, yeah.
I think Satan himself keeps these evil bitches alive. Her and Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I'm telling you, Satan himself keeps them alive. There's just no way around it.
Well, RGB is, or RBGB, whatever it is, RBG. She is obviously attempting to cling to life until post-November.
Clearly.
Actually, probably post-January 21st.
Clearly. Dude, she's going to be mostly like machine by the time election rolls around. Like she's going to be just hanging on with like she's going to be clinically dead.
87, I think.
She's going to be clinically dead for 3 months, like hooked onto respirators, and be like, nope, she's still alive.
She's 87. Okay, I'll tell you one thing. When it comes to the Supreme Court, well, actually any government position, but when it comes to this,
says RPG been dead for over a year.
It's like Weekend at Bernie's. Man, man, that was hilarious. Those movies were hilarious.
They were.
I say that's what, like 1993, maybe 94. But yeah,
that Ginsburg's, that's what they'll be doing. Be propping her up in the chair, some sticks behind them.
Oh man, but I tell you what, like the fact that we allow Supreme Court justices to potentially stay on the court until they're like literally about
falling
to kick
apart,
the can.
right? Decrepit, falling apart.
It's like, okay, so you're one of 9 people that can literally determine the outcome for generations of the constitutional rights or interpretation of our rights, and you can be, I mean, okay, no,
Right?
I'm good.
Yeah, it blows my mind.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, man. I am convinced beyond, like, it would be very difficult to unconvince me of this. I think Chief Justice John Roberts is compromised.
In what way?
I mean, I think he is like, they've got him. They've got something on him. Because some of his rulings are just so directly contradictory to his positions. And some of the creative things he's come, like Obamacare, for example. Like, he
Right.
literally rewrote the law to make it constitutional.
Basement. Didn't know who RBG was. Looked up images. Zombies are real.
Uh, yeah, I mean it's like yeah, and like the some of his rule. Well, just long story short, since in the last like 5 years, he has been the deciding vote in multiple monumental paradigm shifting cases that it's like he took the liberal position on, like paradigm changing
Right.
decisions. And
Yeah.
it's like, wait a minute. And he just did one last month on the basically ruling that churches can't uh, refuse to hire transsexuals. I mean,
Oh,
our
that's
protect.
yeah, that's a radical thing.
I
That's a
mean,
radical
and
thing.
he was the deciding vote on that one.
I think we have been, let me know what you think about this, Maddox, because I almost feel like even on a cultural level, we've been getting pushed to like realize that this church, this I don't know, concert environment, church setting that we've been promoting for like, I don't know, decades, like
Mega
maybe
churches.
is a failed experiment. Like, and that like it creates more problems than it solves, and we should have been having more like communion household type of churches, and that were more integrated into the community instead of our own little isolated bubbles with buildings and staffs and maintenance and all this other garbage.
Well, I would definitely agree with you on that for sure. The in terms of what is the more biblical model that should be being followed, and as well as just more productive and influential in reality in terms of like real day to day life. Because I mean, I think the point where you're going with, or where you're going with that point is, or at least where I would take it is, yes, they've turned into these like huge arenas. However, they don't have much influence outside of Sunday.
Mm,
Like
mm,
people don't really, they don't have that same day to day influence. You know, it's
agreed.
I think hypocrisy flourishes. And like, oh, I went to church versus actually living the life. And
Living church. Yeah.
I did business with several pretty big churches at my old company, and they were actually some of the most annoying clients. Kind of ironic. The one of them was actually really good, but several other ones were just very obnoxious. And dealing with, so I'm like, I remember going to like, having a couple meetings. This one, it was just massive. I'm going there and I'm like, what is this place that I'm in right now? You know, and it's just this huge thing. It's got a school. It's got this massive church. They've got like all this stuff. There's a freaking football field. I
Right.
mean,
Yeah.
what is this? And I mean, it's this gigantic compound in one of the richest neighborhoods in Nashville.
Right.
I mean, gigantic compound. And
Well,
like the governor went there at the time, went there. I mean, all those, it was like, big names, country music stars, all this kind of stuff. It was that kind of play, I'm assuming they probably got those all over California. And I'm just like, what is this?
yeah. I've uh, I've walked into a church. Some of the churches they have the sermon at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. I walk into a place and they said, "This is not a church. This is a business."
Yeah.
Oh, what kind of stuff is that?
Well, I'd say I remember looking at the budget of one of those churches, and they were all like upset, and they were like looking at marketing campaigns and stuff for like, we need to increase our donations. It was like one of their campaigns. They wanted my creative team to like develop a new campaign of like to increase donations. And I'm like thinking about that. You're pointing like into business. I'm like, hmm. So they're gonna pay us to help them get people to give them more money to do God's work.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Like I said, I get it. I get the whole point, but to me, it's like this isn't what. Like, if that's your objective, then you need to be a nonprofit, and you can be a
The
religious nonprofit.
Think
But
about it this way. Think about it this way. Think of those churches. Think of the televangelists. Think of the ones that glean the resources from all over the country with empty promises of blessings that they can't promise will actually happen. instead of those resources going into the local Christian community to deal with local immediate issues, they're going into the pockets of greedy, wealthy sycophants. Imagine.
Yeah.
Just imagine.
Well, a couple years ago, this really pisses me off. One of the many things that piss me off, but over the years, there's been I usually like will pick one or two like homeless people to help, and the one of the things I derived over the years is that one of the biggest reasons that a lot of people, homeless people, are homeless, not necessarily the ones that are like hardcore on drugs, but the ones like, you know, maybe had criminal past or just
Right.
ended up
Bad
on the
in their
street.
luck, can't get work.
Ended up on the street, right?
Yeah. Sure.
They live so hand to mouth
Yeah.
that the premise of getting a job and then, oh, cool, they're going to make what, $10 an hour, and they're not going to get a paycheck for 2 weeks, and they literally have no money. How are they going to eat?
Right.
Right now they live hand to mouth to like panhandle enough money each day to go stay in a crap hotel
Right.
for the night, and instead of having to sleep on the street and that kind of stuff. And I'm like, when you really contemplate the amount of capital that is donated to all these homeless shelters, and that's just the private money. That's before you even think about the federal money and the
Yep.
state money and the city money that's supposed to go all this stuff. I'm like, I sat there and did the math of like, okay, here's the number of total homeless people across the United States. Here's the amount of capital that was given specifically to homeless issues. Like, you could literally pay a year's rent for every homeless person in America just off the money given to private charities. That's before you even account for the federal, state, and local money, like government money. A year for every homeless person in the United States. And I'm like, okay, why is that not being done? Like, I understand you don't want to do it for the druggies and like I said, I'm talking about like, why are you not leveraging that to solve that initial problem? Like, what was their problem? I will never have enough money to have a first month, last month down payment on an apartment. Ever. Like, that's the way their mind works. Of like, I will never be in that position. Because they literally try to have enough money to eat every day. That's it.
Mhm.
That's all they're focused on. Eat, stay in a crappy place, or hey, am I going to sleep on the street tonight? I mean, how can we not partner with places to be like, hey, we're going to give you a place to live. You've got 2 months to get your life in order. Like, we're
Well,
going to
some
help you find a
places,
job.
yeah, no,
all this
some
kind of
places
stuff.
they do that. In fact, I think one of the places they were doing it was Colorado. And it was actually, I wouldn't call it a massive success. It was a mild success. It did work. Here's the issue. You have to have a certain amount of enforcement. And like, if your enforcement isn't 100% spot frickin' on, it's not going to work. Because you can't. Here's the thing: if you're going to help homeless people, then they have to want to be helped. They have to want to integrate back into society. If they just want the handout, helping them is not helpful. So you know, and you're helping them, depriving resources of those that actually do want help. So it's that you have to be really, really aware. You have to be really well discerned. You have to make sure you're helping the right people, and you have to enforce it, because you don't want to move a bunch of people in that are basically just drug addicts. You know what I mean?
No, I agree with you completely on that. That's why I think the other portion of it is you need to have jobs ready to go.
Right.
And it's
Amen.
like, listen,
Yeah.
you're going to have food. Listen, we're going to put food in your fridge.
Right.
And you have 2 months.
Right.
To be able to work. Here's a job you're going to start. You have the next 2 months of having zero bills. You have a place to stay and you have food. You have 2 months to save your money, and then your rent's due. Like, you're going to get to have 4 paychecks at this time for you to build up some money. And you could even do stuff like, you don't get the money. The money gets put in an escrow account. Like that you're working at. Kind of thing. You get a stipend or whatever to, day-to-day kind of operation stuff. But we're taking care of your food. We're taking care of your place to stay. The money you're earning goes into an escrow account, and then come month 2, then you have to, that money, comes out to pay your rent. You just to help to build that cycle, and regain. Because I agree with you. Like, you can't just have somebody hard jump from, oh, I've been living hand to mouth to normal society. Like, that's not realistic, right? But I think there's so many ways that ultimately the point I was making is that this shouldn't be a capital shortage problem. The capital is there, but somehow all we hear from the homeless organizations that are supposedly helping the homeless is they need more money. And I'm like there's this one here in Nashville, I won't name names, but like I looked up their numbers. Every year for the last 5 years, the least they've ever raised in charitable donations was $30 million in a year. Wow. And I'm like, there's 5,000 homeless people in Nashville. It's like is the number. I'm like, you guys have 30 million? And that's just one shelter.
Yeah.
There's like 4 others. That's before you even account for the city stuff. Yeah. I'm like, what the? You're telling me 30 million is not enough? You need more? Get out of town, man.
Bureaucrats, idiots. It's all, the money always goes to stupid places. You know, we've been, especially over here in California, we've been throwing gobs of money, and I do mean gobs of money at the homeless.
Man, San Fran, you get to stay in a nice hotel if you're homeless during the COVID thing.
Oh my God, dude, it's so ridiculous. Yeah, well, San Fran's basically just a dystopia now, and like within another within a year, I mean, San Francisco will just be economically obsolescent. They're just murdering that city.
A good buddy of mine, he works in San Fran, lives in Oakland. It blows my mind. I went and visited him last year. He lives in Oakland, and his 1-bedroom, he's got a 1.5 bedroom apartment. It's $3,200 a month.
Holy freaking crap, dude!
And I'm like, I mean, it's not crap. I mean, it's not like it's a pretty decent. It's a decent apartment, but it's nothing fancy at all. And I'm like, dude, you're in Oakland. He's like, I know, man. It was like 5 G's for a apartment smaller than this, closer into town.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, it's like, especially now with it's interesting. San Fran, New York, other places with COVID, they've actually had to lower rent because people are just abandoning it. Yeah. Well, I mean, the irony for me is that like with San Fran and New York, the abandonment has been happening for years now.
Right.
It's just been kind of covered up and a trickle. Now it's turning into a full-scale avalanche.
It's an exodus. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in fact, I think we're kind of...
Well, heck, we got Jungle's going to be dipping out of Jersey and going to Missouri.
Oh.
Yep, probably, maybe even at the end of this week.
No kidding. Oh, wow.
I mean, I'm starting. I mean, I got a lot to move. I got to move all my stuff, but I'm starting the move out to Missouri.
I think everyone's starting to leave the city centers because they're just toxic and gross, and I don't think it's going to get better anytime soon until all the Democrats are either dead or voted out.
Well, the Dems are never going to get voted out of. I mean, at this point, when you really think about how the state of huge portions of the downtown's population, things have not gotten better for them for 50 years. They've gotten worse.
You know how Chicago has basically had the reputation as a bloodbath for like years now, like many years. Okay. Now their shootings are up by 139% from last year. And last year was a nightmare, like a horror show. And now it's 139% worse.
Yeah, there have been more people killed in Chicago than were killed in Afghanistan.
This is insane.
Yeah.
This is insane.
Well, and it's only going to get worse. I mean, New York is up violence since this whole madness has started. The violence in New York has gone up 200%.
Oh, yeah.
Just in the past, 2 months. I mean, did you see what happened? The announcement that was made today in Minneapolis?
No.
From the police?
No.
Oh, okay. The police literally made an announcement to the citizens that they should just turn over their property without resistance to criminals.
Wow.
It was just when you're being robbed, just hand them your stuff.
No thanks. No, I'll go out fighting. No thanks. I'll go ahead and murder them in the spot. The cops apparently won't show up, so I don't have to worry about it.
Well, that's where I think New York, dude, it's going to be Escape from New York. Remember that horrific Kurt Russell movie?
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
It's going to turn into that in these places. I mean, when you have a mayor like de Blasio literally supporting the criminals over the cops, not figuratively, literally,
Right.
there is only one logical conclusion. I mean, the criminals are going to go nuts and like just run amok, which they're doing. I mean, good grief, crime's up 200%. Not just all crime, like violent crime up 200%. Like that's, just think about that. I mean, that's skyrocketing.
Insane.
Portland, there was like 150 shootings or 150 shots fired in Portland last night. And I was reading an article about that earlier. And dude, did you read the stuff about the? Did you guys hear about the pipe bombs with nails in them that have exploded in Portland?
What?
Yeah,
They're
like
making pipe bombs now?
Yep, with nails, just like the old IRA did back in the day.
Yeah, shrapnel bombs. Yeah.
Yeah, the IRA invented the nail bombs back in the day.
Yeah,
But
they
yeah,
tape a bunch of nails to the outside of it. And yeah, that was a brutal thing. What a bunch of degenerates. This is so stupid.
It's terrorism.
It is terrorism. It is. Can Antifa finally be labeled and we can start? I don't know. Just like
well, Antifa. That's the irony. Antifa has been labeled that by DHS.
Well, why aren't they dealt with then? I don't get it. Like, why do we still have these trash? Why do they still have Twitter accounts? Help me.
Well, we're talking about Twitter. I mean,
Twitter might as well be Antifa, I guess.
I mean, they're. Well, the problem is that I think part of the reason, like for Portland, for example, I mean, the mayor and the governor have formally refused federal assistance. Same thing with Washington State. I mean, Seattle and everything. I mean, the governor
too. Yeah, Chicago.
Governor and the mayor, yeah, Lightfoot or whatever her name is, the mayor of Chicago.
Beetlejuice.
Okay, so here's a sidebar. Have you noticed that quite a few? We were talking about earlier. You're talking about like, does Satan have control?
Right.
Have you ever seen pictures of quite a few of these quote unquote leaders in different Democrat-controlled cities that all have this extraordinarily gaunt look?
Yeah.
I mean, like their eyes are sunken.
Like death.
I mean, it's like freakish. And there was, and it was not just like elected officials, other people of influence. Like I remember seeing an interview with like the director of health or whatever for LA County. Holy crap! This was the first time I noticed. I'd seen I saw a picture of Lightfoot and this woman, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, what the blankety blank?
Yeah.
These two people are just have this exact same gaunt, sunken eyes, like look on their face, and they're both making like these formal statements about like power grab,
Right.
and you don't have the right to this. I'm like, wow, that's kind of freaking me out a little bit.
Right.
There's these people even in control of their own, whether it be spiritual or behind the scenes control factors. It's because some of this stuff, to me, when you really like dive into and analyze what's going on, this stuff does not make any sense unless there is coordinated structure to manipulate the masses.
Absolutely. I agree with you.
And just run.
Yeah.
And the local media has turned into the freaking Pravda of America.
Yeah, that's what the problem is the media. And Hollywood. And scientists.
All of it's gross.
And the educational system.
All right, well, gentlemen, I think I'm going to bow out. I need to get myself something to eat. No, it's not going to be a burrito.
Okay, Smokey, you don't have to deny. We know you're going on a burrito run.
Yeah, it's totally going to be a burrito.
Yeah.
I just couldn't say it, but yeah.
You could get street taco. I mean, it could be street tacos.
It could be a street taco. But it'll probably be.
You are out in California. I'm sure that tacos are easily accessible.
They're as easy as burritos. Yes, this is true. This is true. Absolutely. Gentlemen, all the best. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me in. I appreciate it. It was fun. Good times.
Of course. Yeah. It's that. Let's say, what time is it? Oh man, it's almost 2:00 my time. Okay. Yep. It is. It is time for bed. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you all sticking through the rather bizarre interactions, quasi-conversations, cuss-out sessions, rambles, trolls. Wow, who knows? Political diatribes. I mean, who knows what you might experience when you come to Logical, Plausible, Probable.
We got it all.
Got it all. And if you go to Smokey's channel, you never know. You go to Jungle's channel. Well, Jungle's probably going to be the most calm of all of us. Although he is known to occasionally get triggered and get a little riled up.
He was kind enough to let me onto his stream yesterday and let me go in at Ronan for about 5 minutes. So I appreciated that.
I saw that, actually.
Yeah. And that guy, Chris, he was talking to Ronan for hours and hours. I mean, hours on end. And I thought that was
that Ronan guy was a little bit strange.
He's a lot bit strange. He might be an actual legitimate retard, and I do mean that. Like, I used to say that kind of in passing about Ronnie. I think Ronan might actually be.
I tell you what, this is. I know you gotta go. This is. I know those burritos and street tacos are calling you. Some of this stuff that comes out of these people's mouths, the atheists. I mean, I'm like. Okay, are you guys this dumb, or are you literally this full of crap? Like, there doesn't seem to be a middle ground for me. Like, either you're an idiot for taking this position, or you are so full of hot air, you're also an idiot, but just from a different perspective. You got any y'all see that same like parallel?
Yeah, I've also wondered sometimes, like, because they'll argue at a certain point, and I'll be like, are you being serious? Like, is this something you actually hold, or are you just desperately flailing about to not lose the
like the Kevin guy tonight.
Yes.
I mean, I would say he was the embodiment of that.
Agreed. No, that's actually a really good point. Just the desperate, spurgy flailing around to not actually lose the argument he's clearly losing. Yeah, no, it's hilarious.
Yeah, to me, they're all like
he didn't even lose an argument. He never made an argument. Sorry, Jungle. Sorry, Jungle. Go ahead, Mac. I interrupted you again, man.
Yeah, no, they're all like that. To me, I mean, they're all like Ronan. They're all like this Kevin guy. You know, I don't see what their point is.
Yeah, exactly.
Desperation to avoid the obvious. All right. Well, on that note, gentlemen, because we'll keep talking until 4 a.m.
Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Again, as I love to say when I close these things out, is as you are considering the factors that regard how we exist and what are the requirements, I always recommend and suggest and hope and implore you to make sure that your conclusions are based on things that are logical, plausible, and probable. Thanks so much, everybody. Y'all have a great night.
Good night, everyone. Love y'all.
Good night.